Okay, we are live. Sorry for the bit of the delay there, folks. But oh, and hey, looks like the frames are working fine. I thought they were going to be screwed up, but it seems like everything position-wise is working. Yay. But hello everyone, and welcome to episode 14 of Cosplay Photo Critique. We had some technical issues to start off the night. Just some major enjoyment. We thought for a little bit there that we might not get Sarah's camera going, but it's fixed. And then we've just general had internet problems. I think it's a Discord issue, but who knows? So
we're not sure.
Yeah. So if things are janky tonight, I'm sorry. We're trying our best. So with that, I want to introduce everyone. If you don't know who she is already, Mallo is back as her second time as a guest. She was our very first guest on episode 3, and she's back, like 9 episodes later or so. Yeah, so welcome back, Mallo.
Thanks. Glad to be back.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Mallo, how about you give us a little bit of your background? How long have you been shooting for? And maybe like in general versus cosplay?
Maybe in general since 2009. It's when I got really interested in shooting, like, maybe not professionally, but like just conceptual work, just going out. Really, it was just me like wandering in the woods, like just taking pictures of friends. So cosplay wise, since Otakon 2012. I could be wrong on that, but it was before it moved, that's for sure. So yeah.
Sarah, you got any questions for Mallo?
I have a ton of questions for Mallo. You have any, like, was there any shoot that was like your favorite so far? It can either be at a convention or on location, but any one in particular that's really stuck with you?
Would you guys count Lolita as cosplay? Okay.
I think so.
Why
You're
not?
dressing up as something weird, so
Yeah. Weird. Probably my favorite shoot would probably be when I shot my friend Beatrice in Italy, and that's because we were in Italy and she was in this really elegant Lolita outfit that just matched the scenery and everything. And I actually had really bad jet lag and culture shock, so like Italy was hard for me, but that was really fun. And also we were in like a very touristy place called Padova, and people were like following us because they didn't know what was going on, and none of them spoke English, and I told her to lie and say we were shooting for Vogue.
I mean,
that's kind of wonderful. I mean,
and they believed her, and I'm like, this is the only chance I have.
Honestly, that kind of, I feel like a lot of times it's easier to just lie about like what you're doing photography wise. Like,
I think she told them after, like, I was just joking because like I didn't want them to actually think that, but we were joking around about it. So I don't know. I couldn't understand what she was saying, but it was funny, the reactions that people had.
Hilarious.
So, yeah.
So I know every photographer has something that they like to do in particular when they're editing. Like, for example, I really like cleaning up people's costumes. Like, it seems like kind of a tedious and like a chore task to other people, but it's something I really enjoy. Is there anything like that that you enjoy doing in particular when it comes to editing?
Skin retouching is really fun. When I finally learned frequency separation, made my life so much better because I used to just use the clone brush for everything, and their face would be like a porcelain mask. It was so bad. I mean, if that's what you're going for, like, I mean, I've seen people shoot, characters that are dolls or like, Hatsumiku. that's subjective on like how perfect she is, but like I had no concept of shadows, and I would like literally just erase their nose and the sides of their lips. That's something that I try to be better about, is how like when you skin retouch, like the corners of the mouth get messed up a lot too. So I think I enjoy that the most because I've come a long way with it. I still don't think I'm perfect, but it's fun. And I like to edit eyes a lot. Sometimes I don't, but depends on the situation. But yeah, skin retouching is so fun. I enjoy it.
I also love retouching eyes, except when they have contacts. Like, especially if like the pupils are off, then I'm like, kill me.
God damn it. How do?
Oh, in case I was just wanted to say, in case it wasn't clear, I've got something new I'm trying to do is have all the photographers' work showcased in the background while we're kind of doing this little interview section. So in case people were wondering what these photos are, these are all Mallo's photos.
Which are amazing.
If that wasn't clear.
So you have a really, I'd say like non-conventional like color grading style. Can you like enlighten us, like where you get your inspiration from?
Can you tell us about your greens, please?
Tell us how to get those Mallo curves.
Get those greens, Mallo. How do we get those greens?
Oh God. Oh man, my greens. I don't know. I've been embracing putting more yellow in my greens. I haven't posted anything with it, but like I've been trying to get that like spearmint green. I don't know. I've been loving it lately. But like I love the greens where it's like you bring blue into it, and then I desaturate a lot, so I really enjoy that. I get a lot of inspiration from a lot of West Coast photographers that aren't cosplay photographers, but they shoot like editorial stuff. I'm not a huge fan of shooting editorial. I mean, I feel like there can be concepts that are different, but to me, it's all the same, just like a model, just chilling, like street photography. I think it's amazing, and these people have talent, but I'm just not my thing. But how they color grade is phenomenal. Is that the right word?
Sure.
I used to be obsessed with Vogue magazine too. I haven't bought it lately because I don't know why, but I used to be really, really obsessed with Vogue and like some of the stuff that they have on there. I think some of the color grading that they present from photographers, but a lot of it is just, I don't know. I follow a lot of rando photographers on Instagram, and I feel like sometimes you're not born with all these ideas. You piggyback off of other people and kind of build your own thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like, good name drop is Kirsty Mitchell. Like, she's an amazing photographer, and like her stuff is like original, but she still bases things off of fairy tales that her mom used to read to her. Like, so even though it's her own characters, it comes from somewhere, you know? So it's really cool that I can give not the proper credit right now, but credit to these people that I follow, because I mean, everybody inspires me, you know, even people that don't shoot photography, they inspire me in some way to shoot and color grade and play around with different things. So
I think that's like an important thing to bring up, is that like you don't necessarily have to draw inspiration from photographers to get good at photography. Like I'm the same way as you. Like I draw inspiration from like everything.
Yeah.
Especially in the artistic world, like everything is tied together to some extent. So to kind of silo yourself into just photography, like you think that you can only look at photography in order to get better at photography, I think is a very narrow-minded way of thinking, and it's not really going to help you get better. So
I think also people need to have that mindset that like you can be proud of the things you come up with, but it's not uncool to be like, this is inspired by someone. Or I mean, you don't have to do that every time you post something, but maybe, I don't know, it's kind of a cool thing to do. Like, I don't necessarily do on my Instagram, but maybe one day I'll be like, hey, I color graded this and it reminded me of, you know, so-and-so, and, you know, I don't know. I think it's okay to acknowledge people.
I always think it's interesting too, because like a lot of times I don't necessarily think I'm inspired by something, but then when I look back, it'll be like years and I'll look back at my old work and I'm like, oh yeah, that was totally inspired by this. So sometimes it's a bit hard to do that in the exact moment, but it's always interesting to like find where that actually is coming from inspiration wise.
Totally.
At least I know that's how it is for me.
Well, I have one final question. You ready for this, Mallow?
I don't know.
What is your dream yaoi shoot?
Oh my god. Oh, this is so hard. Put me on the spot. Oh my god. Well, I love I love Hidoku Shinade really a lot. They're like the illustration for that, like it's so cute and colorful, and like I think I would love to do like actual street photography of them. They're so cute. I don't know. I have a lot of ships, but I think like that would be fun. It would be fun to like. It'd be like a nice fashion-y kind of like thing to do. If anyone even knows what it is.
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally.
Love Funny Boy.
I want to shoot the Gundam Wing Boys. I mean, that's an old ship.
Okay,
Sorry.
Sorry, guys. I had to ask. We were talking about it before stream. I couldn't help myself.
Andrew's like, I hate this already.
That's what happens when you have two females on stream.
Why do we do these?
To educate people.
No, it's really just a ploy for you guys to talk about yaoi on stream.
BL's great. I don't know what you're talking about.
Not wrong.
Okay, with all those important questions covered, let's roll into some, I guess, housekeeping stuff. I guess that's what I'm gonna call it. So hopefully, maybe you noticed, maybe you didn't, but I did a complete update of the overlays for the stream. I was really liking StreamJar, how it looked, but for whatever reason, it wasn't working. So,
good.
Hey, like, I don't care how good it looks if it doesn't work. So I spent some time and set up Streamlabs. So hopefully things are working. So, when people are following and doing all that stuff, it should pop up as an alert on screen. I'm hoping. I've done all the testing, but I haven't done it live. So this is the first time doing it live. So hopefully everything functions. But knowing how the stream's kind of gone so far, it probably is going to not work. But also, we're bringing a bit of a new change up to the format this time. We are going to have an intermittent... God, that's not the word I was going for. Intermission in between the critiques. So once we're halfway through the photos, we're going to bring it to a intermission. So hopefully that should be a fun change of pace. I'm not going to spoil what it is quite yet, but... hope it should be fun and you guys will enjoy it. And words are hard. And Alexandria Lee, yes, words are difficult. Also, if you guys have watched before, I'd really appreciate getting some feedback from you guys. So I went and put together a survey because I wanted to get I felt like I wasn't. I was asking for feedback a lot for these streams, but there's only so much I can do based on general chat replies. So hopefully, I built out a Google form, and if you guys have time, I appreciate it if you would take that time and fill out that form. I'm pressing my button to post this to the chat, and it's just lol no, because apparently just life hates me today. So I am just going to hard copy and paste this into the chat. Ha. There you go. So yeah, if you guys could fill out that critique survey if you've watched once before or even at the end of this one, or if you're a longtime viewer, I appreciate the feedback. It's all anonymous, so be honest with us.
Lay it on us.
Yeah, think of it like you're critiquing our critiques.
It's fine. We want to make content that you guys enjoy. So.
Yeah, we want to make this better, so we can't make this better unless you give us your real opinion on this. So, yeah, lay it on us. Also, they're finally getting that. Seems overlays are working. Hell yes. I am very happy about that. Kaze Photography, thanks for that $5 donation. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's see here. What else? Oh Lord, honest, huh? Yeah, we're just gonna get to. It's your chance to tear us to shreds. But
Whatever.
legitimately, if there's anything you'd like, I've got some sections. If there's things that you want to see us do or change, yeah, that's I'm all ears. So take the time, fill that out, let us know. Also, I wanted to thank you guys for the guest submissions we've gotten so far. We've gotten a handful, but keep those coming. We're trying to constantly get new guests for the stream. So the more suggestions, the more options we have to pull from. That said, I would like not to say that you shouldn't suggest someone, but like if they aren't in the U.S., not because I don't want to have someone from outside of the U.S. be on the stream, it just the time difference makes it dramatically more difficult for them to be on the stream. So I would just keep that in mind if there's someone that you would like to see, if they're not a US photographer, that makes this a hell of a lot more difficult to get them on. Not saying it's impossible, but we'd have to do a lot more logistic planning for that to happen. Let's see. Oh yes, I will post the link to the guest suggestion in the chat. And then I will give more details about the next upcoming critique at the end of the stream. So for now, I'll just give out the date. It's going to be August 30th. So mark that on your calendars, and I will give out the details of who our next guest will be at the end of the stream. And with that, you guys ready to get into some critiques now that I've just like blabbed on for like way too long?
Hell yeah.
Awesome. Okay, let's go on to the first photo. This one is from Aaron, and it's of everyone's favorite. Melinda.
It's Melinda.
Sarah, why don't you lead us off in this?
Melinda looks great.
The
The end. I'm starstruck. No, in all seriousness though, when I first saw this photo, like I got like almost got chills because it feels so like it's so cinematic. And I feel like it touches on that like the more like calm side of Twilight Princess. Like Twilight Princess is like a much darker like Legend of Zelda game. But it does have its more like peaceful and calm moments, and I like how this photo touches on that. So like the emotion that this photo gives off is like really, really strong for me. I think like Melinda's pose is like really stoic. I think it fits Link really well, and the location is freaking perfect. I'm going to assume it's from their mountain trip that was a couple weeks ago. Just everything all together is really working for me in terms of composition, the pose, location is bomb as fuck. The only thing I think is not working for me, at least right now, is I think there's a little bit too much space on the left. I wish it had been cropped in a little more, so there's not as much open space. I'm kind of like, I sound kind of hesitant about it because I kind of like it, but I also kind of like think it's too much. So I'm a little conflicted on that. And the other thing I wanted to touch on is I like the clean editing that it has, but again, because Twilight Princess has such a certain like color aesthetic to the game as a whole, I think it would have been nice if they had touched on those like desaturated colors, kind of like that moodier, like darker tone that it has. I still like the editing job though, but I think it just would be interesting to see it be taken a step further, color grading wise. Yeah.
So I'm a sucker for 16:9 crops. So like, I think that was my first thought in this. I'm like, I love how cinematic this shot feels because of that crop. It like works super well. But the next thing I get onto is, am am I the only one that feels like the pose is a little weird?
It doesn't look comfortable.
Yeah, like I
me.
just don't.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I know what's going on because Link in this photo is kneeling, but then like eyes are kind of down, but also drawing like his sword. I just don't really understand what action is happening here.
I kind of read it as like they're getting like they were kneeling and then they're getting ready to get up into like battle pose. That's how I read it.
Yeah,
But I think because the knee is like not perpendicular, it doesn't read as kneeling to me.
Yeah, it doesn't come across that way at all to me, and I'm not like trying to be terrible, like terribly mean on the specific pose, but I just don't. I think honestly that it's the hand going for the sword that feels weird to me because the kneeling feels pretty relaxed. Like it doesn't feel like a before action pose because like there's no like tension in the pose in the body.
Yeah.
So I just think grabbing for the sword feels a little odd here. Otherwise, I think I really like it, but I kind of wish that the background was either more blurry or more simple. Like I feel like there's a lot going on to it.
Yeah.
And I think it was like I would say if you stepped in a couple steps, maybe even a little bit more than that, or zoomed in a bit more, kept the framing pretty much the same, but just like had if you were shooting tele and zoomed in more, you'd have like less information. It'd be more blurry. I think it would just read a little bit better. It's a bit much right now. It feels a little bit distracting to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Fun.
My turn?
Go ahead. I just was laughing at Fawnina's comments.
Okay. I didn't want to interrupt you.
I just have to read Fawnina's comment because it cracks me up. Melinda's thighs are A++, but it reads a little more feminine. I just thought that was hilarious. Go ahead, God. Matt.
Oh, Melinda. So two separate things. Something that I've learned, and I don't do it all the time. There are times where I'm like, I'll just trust the cosplayer, but it doesn't happen often because then I look like an idiot. But I'm really big about like researching what you're shooting. And I don't think that you have to go off of exactly what you're shooting. You can come up with your own concept, your own colors, by all means. But for this, I feel like the greens, I'll go into the greens. The greens are great because, sorry, I'm
on brand.
I get a little nerdy here, but like in Twilight Princess, the greens are like a minty, like yellow. They're not,
it's more yellow green.
Yeah, they're not saturated like in like Skyward Sword or like Breath of the Wild. But so the whole desaturated feel is cool. I think maybe could have brought up the saturation a tiny bit, but not too much. If anything, I probably would have tried to make like the rock and the dirt maybe a little more orange. As far as the pose, I feel like I like the stance, but if like her right leg would have been up more and that other leg wasn't like popped out like a model, it was more like masculine. You know what I mean? Like more masculine.
Yeah, that's bothering me too.
The head and everything, like the position's great, but if her eyes would have been like forward, it would have been so intense. Like
absolutely.
Like looking at something looking like I'm about to kick someone's ass. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
That was part of my reason why I felt like the pose didn't make sense is literally the eye contact being kind of down there. So absolutely agree on that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm a sucker for, and sometimes I've done it where I put more of the scenery than the actual person. I love putting the environment. I feel like I would have wanted to see more of the environment and not be blurred. I don't know why, like, but I do like the blur because it puts more focus on the model. But my biggest thing is you're in an environment that's not everyone has access to. Put more of where you're at in it, especially if you're at the Rocky Mountains. I mean, come on.
I mean, I don't disagree with that. The reason I was just kind of saying, like, if you were keeping the shot the same,
for sure.
I just think like the rocks that are kind of scattered behind her, I just don't think those are all that visually interesting. I honestly think if you got lower too, and maybe got the trees behind her instead of all the like white band of rocks, that might also read a fair amount better. So, but
I know
it kind of just leaves me like wanting to see more. Like, what is the environment that they shot in?
Yeah, which I mean, not everyone's gonna know they were on some cool trip, but
You're right.
someone noticed or someone said they didn't have an issue with the legs, and I mean that's another thing. Like, I don't want to sit here and like say, well, Link can't look feminine, you know, but I feel like that's another thing where it's a subjective thing, because for me, I would want that left leg to be pulled in more, because one, it looks uncomfortable. You know, it doesn't look like it's a fighting stance. It doesn't look like an action stance. It looks like it's a Vogue photo shoot or something. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like an action pose, or even something that realistically anyone would. I wouldn't put I couldn't even get back up if I looked like that. Let's be real, but like, it just doesn't, it looks like the leg's uncomfortable. So, I mean, it really just, I guess, is how you feel about it.
I mean, it's also, I think it's supposed to be a kneeling pose, and typically your leg is perpendicular to the ground.
Yeah, that's true.
It just feels like a bit conflicting. I don't necessarily think I have, like, if I'm just taking the pose, like, as a pose, I think it looks pretty good, but then when I take it in context, that's where I have problems with it.
Totally.
Because I'm just like, it just doesn't make sense to me in context of the photo. So hopefully that.
I appreciate how crisp she looks, though, like how sharp it looks.
Yeah,
great.
I laugh because someone brought this up, and I nitpick town. There's one little like white dot of bokeh that just like is like calling to us. It's just this big old dot that just for whatever reason just feels so. It's like such a tiny dot, and it shouldn't be like something that reads as strongly as it does, but yet here we are, and it like my eye ends up going to it.
It's so bright, and it's on one of the darkest areas of the photo.
Yeah, take the 2 seconds to like clone stamp that guy out.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Any other thoughts on this before we move on to the next shot?
Other than Melinda looks great. Nope.
Yeah, Melinda's always on point though, so like that's just a
so
given.
Good.
It's just a given.
Not wrong.
Awesome.
Anyway.
Okay, let's move on to the next shot, and this one is from Stardust Photography. Why don't you start us off, Mallo?
Okay. Oh wow. Okay. Oh wow. You're gonna make me start on this one? Really? The one where they're using artificial lights? Okay.
Hey.
No. You got this, man.
This was a randomness. I didn't go which person can talk on better. It's just the order and how the photos came in.
I don't use Flash. I don't know the concept. I used it for a wedding and it went really wrong. So like it looked like some scary club party. It was bad.
Neat.
Okay, so well, I really, really like the red tone. I'm not sure what is this from again?
Boku no Hero, it's Toga.
Oh yeah, this is the crazy girl. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest thing, see, that's probably why I didn't recognize her, because the biggest thing for me, first off, is I think the red's cool because it kind of gives that vibe of like I'm crazy or like killer or something like that. Or yeah, like blood, like you think of blood or something. But this very much doesn't look in character to me. So I was a little confused. That's why I was like, who is this again? I don't know how I feel about the pose. I'm trying to look at it. Give me a second.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it's like it's not in character and it's very like senior photo, like hey, like it's not in character. And also the other thing that really popped out for me was her other leg missing. Yeah. But the skin retouching looks pretty stellar unless that's just natural and then I'm jealous. It doesn't look like a lot of
I think her skin's just really nice.
Yeah.
No,
Zooming in on it, I think
like.
she just got nice skin because there's some areas there I feel like maybe someone would retouch if they were doing some retouching that haven't been. So it makes me think that's just her natural skin.
Exactly.
I don't have a lot of experience with using artificial lighting, so it's hard for me to have an opinion. But I do know that like I'm not a huge fan of like the right side being super bright and like reflecting and the other side being so dark. But again, I don't know if like that's style or like that was supposed to be that way. But I do really, really like the red. Like that gives me the vibe of the character.
I wish it was more intense. Like like it almost feels like it was almost desaturated in the image because like I feel like the red scarf is probably more saturated in real life and probably in the photo. I think it might have been desaturated in the photo. I'm just guessing at this point, but that's kind of what it seems like it might be. And I think you should really up the saturation on that red and makes it feel pretty strong.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the pose a little bit more because it's also a hot topic in the chat. Because I know we've touched upon this couple times in some of the previous streams because we've had a couple submissions where like the cosplayer is like really going for it in terms of pose, and like I know like the idea behind cosplay photography is like I'm gonna look pretty in like this outfit that I spent a lot of time on, or this outfit that I bought that has a lot of detail on it, so I gotta look perfect or whatever. But like Toga is the perfect example of a crazy bitch, and so you can like she's such a good character that it's okay to get like a little ugly about it. Like I shot a Toga at Katsucon and I literally told her, I was like, get weird, get a little uncomfortable, like really try to channel Toga's crazy energy because like not only is her character like that, but it just like it lends itself to that kind of situation and to produce something that maybe you don't see a lot in cosplay photography. So, I mean, I don't know what the rest of the set looks like, but I think opportunity was missed here in terms of pose ideas. Because I kind of agree with Mallo. Like, I know it's a little harsh to say it looks like senior portrait, but like, just based on who the character is, it does feel very like chillax, and that's not really her.
I almost like I feel like you could make this pose like more cutesy by not doing all that much, and it might feel more Toga.
Well, she does like the whole demonic thing, like with her hands like on her face and just tilting your body at weird angles that are just not conventional. Like just doing that, just tiny little things would make it more believable, I guess, for a character like her.
I think like that's why, I mean, she's not one of my favorite characters from the show, and I literally like only see one of her buns and then like her school uniform. I don't even remember what it looks like, so I feel like because of how she's posed and smiling, I wouldn't have thought it's her. You know what I mean? Like I was like, and the knife's just like chilling down there, and it kind of looks like a wand. So it's like, and I'm not bashing by any means because I feel like sometimes people want to change the concept, but like I feel with her, she's like a maniac. So,
well, you can still be like kawaii scary. I mean, there's like a whole genre in Japan called kawaii scary.
I also think you could make this, take the approach of trying to be genuinely cute with Toga, because that's like, but then literally just have the knife in the photo with it, like everything else being genuinely cute, because that could be also kind of unnerving that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this, as a lot of people in the chat just echoed, is a bit too safe.
Yeah.
Also,
just us knowing the character, and the location's actually pretty good for Toga because they're always like in a weird beat up alleyway, so like that's working.
I wish that angle for it was a bit more straight on, or more at an angle, because it's like,
yeah, right now it's like this weird
almost straight on.
Yeah.
Other things to nitpick, the how she's holding the knife also is just kind of driving me nuts. It looks like she's like, okaying it with but with the knife in her hands.
Oh my god, I can't see it.
Yeah, it just feels weird. Like, I just don't think, like, her weight is on that arm. Switch which hand has the knife in it. Yeah, I think anyone who would do that to, like, if they got in that pose, they'd probably be like, oh, this is weird, I'm gonna switch which hand. So, like, I feel like it's just a little bit forced for the sake of, like, oh, that's the pose. So I don't know, just be a little conscious of that. It just reads kind of funky to me.
Mm-hmm. How is the lighting? I think it looks nice, but like Mallo, I also don't use a lot of gels, but I feel like everything is evenly lit, and that seems to be working.
Yeah, the gel on her face, I think, reads a bit, I don't want to say poorly, but I think, like, for me, I'd say I think you're probably getting a bit of ambient in this photo. At least I'm thinking you are. So I would darken it so you get less ambient light, and pull her out away from the wall a little bit more, so that falls darker, and change the angle of that red gel rim light, because it just the way it's lighting her, like, I want the rim light to be filling in those shadows, so it feels a lot stronger here, like, especially on the side of her face. It's like a wash of red, but I kind of want it to feel like, what I really like with gels, like, is to kind of have it feel like the edge is, like, highlighted in red. And if you had that angle a little bit further in back of her, and you'd get more of that look. Yeah. Any other thoughts on this one?
She has perfect skin. It's not fair.
Honestly, I wish my skin looked like that in photos. That's all I'll allow you guys.
She's very adorable. That's all I gotta say.
Okay, so let's move on to the next shot. This one is from Anthony. Anthony has submitted before, so we haven't scared him off yet. Let me get the photo up so I can actually look at it while I'm talking about it. So right off the bat, I really like the mood of this photo. I like the kind of, like, high key, colorful nature without feeling like oversaturated. It's got a lot of warmth in the color tones, and it just feels really nice and kind of warm, and kind of gives like a spring/summer feel to it. And I really like that mood that's being brought out in this photo. The flowers go a long way to add a lot of, like, color to the shot. Like, the background has a lot of tans and a lot of greens, which I think plays pretty well off. Like, it's a pretty basic color scheme, but I think that really helps her pop out of the shot. Like, the colors are probably my favorite part of this photo. It just ends up working really well. I also like I'm going to assume that, like, little bit of, like, hazy flare was edited in, but I feel like it reads really well. And I really like that. That said, I feel like the framing to me just feels ever so slightly off. And maybe that's just me. I think it might be because the fact that her her right leg is kicked out to the side there, and I feel like her upper body is almost centered, but it's a little bit to the left. Like the entirety of her body, if you take it as like in context, is centered in the frame. But because so much of her body is actually to the left, and there's only a little bit of her right leg kicked off to the side, kind of you balanced the frame for that. But because visually weight wise, there's not that much visual weight to her just like the leg that's kicked out to the side, it kind of makes it feel like it's not centered in the shot, and just makes it feel like a little bit off to me. That said, I think I would almost like it more with that leg not as far off to the side. Like I read her body as like if I look at the entirety of her body, I don't feel like her leg is kicked off to the side. Like her dress doesn't look like her leg is going that way, but then I suddenly see her leg go that way, and it feels just a little off to me.
Yeah, I can't decide if it needs to be like picked out more, like exaggerated more, or be a rotation of her body. I feel like I'd have to be there to like tell her to do it, only because my brain right now can't quite like figure out what needs to happen. But I agree with you. Like I feel like for some weird, like it's creating some weird illusion that I'm kind of like, what is that back like doing?
Yeah. Yeah, it's always hard to really tell without like being there to adjust the pose, but it just reads like a little funky to me.
Really want to know where this is taken. Like
I don't know if it is, but it kind of feels like a location that might be at like this might be a location that you go to like outside of a con. That's
because it kind of reminds me of the mall that Anime Boston and PAX East takes place in. So I'm kind of like wondering if it's that. And if it is, I'm super fucking impressed because that mall is so busy.
So it's taken at the Prudential Center
right.
during Anime Boston. Flash code says in the chat.
Impressed, because damn. Anyway.
I think it's really pretty.
I know it's such a beautiful shot. It's so dreamy.
I always watched my friends play Final Fantasy because I am not really good with the whole, and I'm not gonna have the term right, so please gamers tell me. Where like I always compare it to Pokemon, but where it's like it freezes and then you're in the fight. I have no patience for it. I don't know why. Thank you. That's why Kingdom Hearts was a godsend, because I'm like, yeah, I can just beat the shit out of everything. It's fine. Like everything's good. Like, I can just go ape shit. It's fine. Like, but with Final Fantasy, I didn't have the patience, but I loved watching people play. So like this location kind of reminds me of I don't remember which Final Fantasy, but kind of that like it could be like that futuristic, like the plants are in the building, even though that's not futuristic. It's just like real. Just that Final Fantasy vibe that I've gotten from watching them. And I mean, she's gorgeous. Her makeup's on point. Her eyes are great. She has, I feel like she's the character. Like it's very soft. I'm a sucker for flowers in any photo, so I appreciate those. And it kind of just all blends in for the character because she's very just, you know what I mean? Like soft and gentle and stuff like that. At least from what I gathered from her.
That's interesting that you say that because I feel like the expression on her face definitely reads like she is embracing Aerith to like the fullest extent. Like she was like channeling this character while
no, totally. That's I'm saying she literally it's convincing to me.
But you can just see it on her face. Like usually it's just like we're kind of just dressed up and we're wearing wigs and like whatever, but you can tell by her expression that she is like fully immersed in this moment. And that's just you don't see that a lot, and that's really cool.
I think that's a huge part of the reason why this photo feels so good is just her like her facial expression just reads really, really well.
Feels really authentic. Like, she really brought this character to life. And the photographer did too. I mean, they both worked really well together, and it shows.
And honestly, like, you know, when you work with, and I say this from a photographer point of view, but when you work with cosplayers, they all love what they're cosplaying. They love the character, you know.
Well, you hope to God that they love the character.
Right. But not everyone is like super savvy on posing, even if they know every pose. Like if someone's cosplaying Sailor Moon, they might know every pose she does, but like it's nerve-wracking to get your picture taken and not know what you look like. Believe me, I don't like my picture taken. Like it's really hard. So like even if they're super passionate about the character, not everyone is like practicing in the mirror before they come and shoot. So I think it's, again, I can't stress enough to know something about the character, because then you can like, I even like to like learn a little bit about them, even if I have to watch an episode, because I used to not, and then I'm like, dude, I don't know your character, and it was real awkward, and they're like, oh, okay, you know, it was like just very awkward not to know how to pose them, and like I'd be like, oh my god, this character's so cute, she did this, I only watched an episode, but like we should do this, and it gets them pumped, and then they forget that they're nervous. And then they start, you know, because I feel like you can forget that stuff, if that makes sense. I don't know. I love to stress that, because like I feel like photographers are like, not everybody, but some are like, oh, she didn't know what to do. It's like, dude, it sucks getting your photo taken sometimes.
Also,
like,
it's supposed to be a collaborative effort on both parts. Like you both should equally know like what the fuck's going on. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So that's a sorry excuse, no matter what side it comes from. So if someone says that to you, whether you're a cosplayer or photographer, that's bullshit. So
yeah, not everyone's a professional model, and I honestly, I've shot with so many like baby photographers, cosplayers that are like, you know, starting out or something, and they're like, I'm so nervous, and I mean, it's really just being humble, and I think knowing what you're getting into and who they are, like their character and stuff like that, will help them. Like you can connect in that way, especially if you've never met before. So that's just my 2 cents.
So something I want to bring up that Anthony said about the shot was he was like, oh yeah, I think I photoshopped some people out of the shot. That actually is going to, like, I feel like negate my comment. I would have maybe liked to have seen like the grass that's in like the lower right of the shot is probably my least favorite part of the photo. And I wish it was like had her shifted over a little bit more. But man, if you had more people to Photoshop out, then that's gonna be a hard time, as I am totally distracted. You just need to like have that up there the entire time and like just talk and then move Gudetama just so it's like Gudetama's.
My phone case is Gudetama.
Oh my god.
Yeah. My little. Okay, sorry.
We're fine, guys.
I said I behaved myself. Okay.
You did?
I told myself that.
Oh,
mentally,
news to
internally.
me.
and the voices in my head, but we won't talk about that.
We all have voices in our head. It's fine.
Awesome.
Okay.
I think that covers this shot. You guys ready to move on to the next one? Is Gudetama ready to move on to this next one?
We are good.
Wait, yeah, he's good.
Okay, sweet. So Sarah, you get to lead off on this one that's submitted from one of our previous guests, Athel.
Oh, snap.
Ew, it's Athel. Gross. Yep. Trash.
Photo.
I know. Oh my god. I've been dying to see photos. I feel like he was with Sono Photos when they went to this field to take pictures of this Sophie, and I've been like, I think it's the same shoot, and I've been dying to see photos from it. First of all, cosplayer looks fucking stunning. Location is bomb.com. Like, it's literally like Howl's Garden. I don't understand. I love the colors. Like, I'm a huge sucker for those, like, not like muted pastels, because that literally makes no freaking sense, but like the soft pastel, like we sometimes have referred to it as like the Asian photographer way of editing colors. Like that soft, like shadows are like taken out a bit, and I don't know. I just love how I haven't said the word ethereal in a pretty long time on stream, but this photo is ethereal as fuck and it's great. It really feels like a dream sequence almost. Like that's what it kind of makes me feel like either like a dream sequence or it's something straight out of like a children's like storybook, like from like 200 years ago. I don't know. It just feels so freaking cool.
I love you.
I think what else. That's it. Okay. Well, this photo also has a tiny to get to Nitpick Town like right away. It has a tiny little speck just like the link photo, and it's literally in like the same spot. So that's kind of funny. I wish he had taken that out. Yeah, those are my initial thoughts.
Yeah, this shot is dope. I feel like
there it is. There it is.
Overall, I really like it, so I feel like I have to nitpick it.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Like the lighting's awesome. The glow in the shot is great. Location is awesome. So we're gonna go into a little bit of nitpickiness. The colors to me feel a little bit weird, and it's you can see a little bit in the flowers in the back where like I feel like the colors were attempted to change and like some weirdness happened in Photoshop, so like the edge of the flowers is like desaturated in the back.
Yeah, Neil just pointed that out, and I was
yeah,
like, oh, shit,
it just feels a little weird. Like you're not gonna notice that until you look at the image for a little bit.
Yeah.
But it feels just a little bit weird because like I think it was just kind of like a case of like saturation increase too. Like they were probably because like if you look at the flowers next to like in the palm of her hand, like they look pretty white in her hand, and that makes me think that maybe that those specific flower petals weren't altered because you'd have to do like more complex masking to do that. I don't know for certain. But I just think there's a bit of weirdness that's going on with the colors with in the flowers, as well as the greens read a little bit flat to me. I just wish there was a bit more depth to those greens, if that makes sense. The greens, I would say, in like the top part of the frame look really great. But the greens in like the field feel a little bit flat. Like they were taken a bit too warm, especially in the shadows. Like if you just had like a bit more of a blue color in the shadows of those flowers, I think they would read a bit better.
I'm trying to like hold on. I'm trying to like get up in this. Hold on.
I know that's kind of what I'm doing right now.
Like the shadows. I might pair it off of what you said. I'm sorry, I was like half listening because I was looking. This is a very I wonder if they did this, like if this went through Lightroom at all. I feel like when you, or like if they used like you can manipulate color with the hue saturation.
Yeah, I feel like there's a million ways that this could have happened.
Right, because I've seen something that people do a lot. I have like friends that are starting out with photography that don't shoot cosplay, but like they love Lightroom, which who doesn't? But like they manipulate the colors, and where it might make one color great, like vibrant, it'll like totally just desaturate another part of that object, which I've done too. But yeah, it's the gray definitely stood out, and I think I don't know. I feel weird about the red shadows in the back a little bit.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. A little odd.
I feel like this is definitely where the greens should be like super vibrant. I mean, unless they were going for a certain like more muted style, I guess. I mean, it's not terrible. Mm-hmm. It's definitely adventurous. Like they definitely played around with color. But it's a very assorted amount of color going on. So it's like my brain's trying to process everything.
I think one of the things that my brain's having a problem like kind of processing is like I don't know why this happens because I don't really understand what I'm doing when I'm playing around with like the luminance levels, like luminosity, but I feel like in this case it was brought down in the greens. Am I saying this right, Andrew? I don't know. But it ends up looking like really flat sometimes. And I feel like here that's not working for me, especially because like there are so many instances in the photo where like a lot of detail is there. So it's like you have like the greens for the flowers that feel really flat, but then you have like the flowers themselves feeling really detailed. And then obviously all the details in the cosplay are like really sharp and crisp. So that's kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
Again, Nitpick Town, USA. So
yeah, this is a case of like I feel like the more I look at it, the more I understand what was gone for here. But I think this is a limitation of like a lot of like the more basic of Photoshop tools, and like a lot of this editing is just like if you want to do it well, it's just very hard to do in Photoshop. Like it's not like if you. This is a reason why I use a program called 3D LUT Creator, because I feel like doing large color changes with things really gets screwy. Like if you want to change like the hue from like red to like orange in Photoshop or Lightroom, it's usually fine. But if you want to change the hue from like red to blue in Photoshop, that is like a dramatically more difficult task, because I don't think like hue and saturation handles that well. It's a far more complex of a task, and I think that's just kind of like something that's very hard to edit in photos, especially with kind of like if you're just trying to use like either tools in Lightroom or like just the adjustment layers at a basic level without doing like a ton of masking. So
the concept's great. She looks, it looks very in the moment, which I appreciate that. I love when not everything is posy. It's very just like a screenshot from a movie, I mean,
her pose is like it's so not posed that it feels great. Like it feels like a
feels
perfect
so natural.
pose.
Yeah, it's like he caught the moment, like a moment, as opposed to it. Yeah, I think that's what I really like about it.
Only thing I would say about that is I wish the framing was a little bit more to the left, so she was more like on the right third of the image. That said, like because the pose feels so like natural and candid, that kind of counters that feeling a little bit, because then, if it was on the third, it makes it feel a little bit more intentional versus this feels very candid.
Skin retouching is good too.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know, I think if the shadows would have been like a blue, maybe that would have, I don't know, maybe a little more blue.
Yeah. All of these things said, I think like I can still take this image and really enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we're just being annoying at this point, I feel like.
Thought for you guys.
No Dutch angle, and it's Ethel. It's a miracle.
How do you guys feel about the her left arm kind of by the shoulder and the kind of like poofiness of the cosplay? Like for me, I would have wanted to liquefy that shape a little bit and kind of bring it in. It feels a little, I don't want to use the word lumpy, but that's the only word I can come up with right now. Like I know those shoulders are a bit poofier, but it just kind of like the shape feels a little off to me.
I think I would have.
Like I would want to adjust the shape of that and liquefy. It just feels a little odd to me.
Maybe a little bit, because I mean they are poofy in the.
Yeah, like I'm not saying like you Photoshop it's in so it's like tighter to her, but like
just reshape it a little bit.
Yeah, like almost like round it out a little bit more. Like it's got kind of that like hard angle in it, and I think if you just like smooth it out, it it would read a little cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
Totes.
Cool. Any other thoughts on this one?
Goodbye.
Okay. Then we are
It's
on to
great.
the next shot. This one is from a photographer who submitted for every single critique so far in
Amazing.
Fluffy Fox Photography. Mallo, you want to take us off on this shot?
Yeah, give me a second.
No, you don't get a second. You got to do it
No.
now, Mallo.
I need a second to look at everything. Hold on. Ooh. Well, I do like. I'm not sure what this is from, but I do like. I used to be a sucker for like editing everything very dark, like a little too much. But I was very much obsessed with the moody, darker shadows and stuff like that in a photo. So I think that's kind of cool in this. And the greens are great. I'm loving it. I feel like maybe it's a little too dark. Like the cosplayer. She kind of blends in with the rest of the photo. I kind of have to really like. It might be just my old age or something, but I have to really strain my eyes. I feel like I would have probably kept the background as it was if you were going for that like moody look, but maybe brighten her up a little bit just to kind of
Make her pop a little bit.
Yeah, like a little tiny bit.
I think it's mostly on her face that I feel that way. Like the shadows are just like pretty harsh on like, or pretty dark, I should say, like around her eyes, and I think that's kind of what makes it feel a little bit harder to read in that respect. I don't know if you agree, but that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah. Location is badass, and I want to live there. Like, it's covered in ivy. Literally
so
me.
Spoopy.
Literally me. I want to be there and yell at kids to get off my lawn. That's what I want. Like, I love it. I also appreciate the angle you shot this from. And I like that little bit of like flowers and stuff that's in the corner. It gives that perspective that like you're sneaking up on her, or like it makes me feel like I'm the one who took that picture, or I'm the one that's looking. I always feel that way when you like you shoot like that, I guess. Kind of like when you shoot through like bushes or anything like that. You're giving that to the viewer to kind of feel like they were there. They're I'm being so like for the top over this.
I think the word that works for this but has a lot of bad connotations is like voyeuristic.
Yes,
like,
it is.
Even though I'm not I don't mean the negative aspects of it in this shot. It just, I think that word works well here.
Yeah, it's hard to explain, but I love that. I don't know. I love that where I'm assuming you were kind of stooping down when you shot this. Yeah. So I really like that. It's just a nice touch. But yeah, I love the moodiness of this. I probably would have. Let me zoom in. Okay. I probably would have. Sorry.
Rebooting Mallo.exe.
I have to. I would have done a little more touch up on the face, maybe lightened up those shadows a little bit. The natural highlight on her cheeks is great. I wouldn't mess with that. I think you really need to be careful, like, and think of how highlights work on the face. And some people will try to like, and I used to do this, where you edit the skin and like it's all the same tone. Sometimes I still do it. I'll go so crazy with skin retouching, and then I'll sleep on it because I need to most of the time. I come back and I'm like, what the?
I always try to sleep on a photo.
Yeah, and so like, really, you just got to think about, and that's with eyes. And I will say this, and I swear it's true. The reason I have such an idea about eyes and like how it works with light is because I used to work for an eye doctor, and like I used to have to shine lights into people's eyes. So it's like I kind of have I mean, you don't have to be a genius or work at an eye doctor to know that, but like I think I learned more because I used to do some crazy alien eyes. Like the whole eye was all
Laser
really,
eyes.
really bright. Yeah, it was really crazy. And I think knowing that, and I think researching how light bounces off of
I'm going to
faces.
throw a link in chat to my favorite article that goes on to about eye retouching.
Yeah.
So, I totally agree.
I think maybe this is a little too serious, but like I think knowing how the body works and like how things work helps with posing and what looks comfortable, how light bounces off the eyes, off the face, and you know what I mean, like, or when you have to, I mean, when you shoot, I don't know if you guys ever seen this before, but there's like this guy that shoots his face with different lenses, and his face looks different and the shape looks different in every lens. Just because what you're seeing in real life, like how they're posed, doesn't mean it's going to come out that way. So you might have to liquefy things, not necessarily making someone skinnier or like making their eyes a certain way or making their hair a certain way. It's more so you might be contorting them in a certain way that like it doesn't make sense in the photo, but like maybe in real life you're like, well, that made sense. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
For this, her pose is great. But I think in general, knowing how the body works is a good thing. Like you could research that, or there's a lot of photographers out there that just do tutorials on that, you know, like how to pose and stuff, which has helped me because I used to make people pose really weird and it was so uncomfortable for them and it looked terrible. And I'm like, what the?
Nothing.
Looked like a creature from Silent Hill. And I'm like, that's fine. Like,
Nothing can be more uncomfortable than MH photography. His posing hurts so much.
I mean, sometimes
I
I
thought my back was gonna break. I was like, please kill me now. This is death. But it looks great.
To rewind it back to the photo.
Sorry.
You're fine. Where are you? So generally speaking, when I pose people, if I have them facing to the left of the frame, I want them on the right of the frame. It just kind of keeps the like, it doesn't move your eye. It moves your eye back into the photo versus if you have someone on the left of the frame and they're posed to the left, it kind of visually makes it the weight feel a little off, and then it kind of moves your eye out of the frame. Sometimes it's okay to do that if you want to communicate something specific, like they're looking off into the distance and you want to not include what that is. Like sometimes it can work. I think here I would have rather her have been on the right of the frame. I think it would have balanced out the frame a little bit more. But that's, I was gonna say the pose looks I feel like her pose is really good. So I wouldn't change much. I would either just shift your camera angle or like have shifted her just a little bit so that you could have gotten that bit more balance to the frame.
Fluffy Fox was saying this was their third time using Photoshop.
Hell yeah.
Right? I forgot what they were using before, but it was something crazy that I was like, how do you get photos in that program? Yeah.
I used to use Corel Paint Shop Pro. Oh my god, it was terrible. It's
Lord.
not okay.
What? How does that even work?
I don't, and I mean, I was using that when I shot at ColossalCon like 2013.
Wow.
It was not a good time.
Pixlr was what she was using.
Oh, Pixlr.
I don't even know what
Well,
that
I'd
is.
say
so,
it
like,
looks pretty awesome for a third time.
Keep it going.
Because Photoshop is intimidating.
Yeah, I feel like this shot has more mood than any of the other shots you've submitted. So like,
yeah, dude.
Keep doing
it.
It's good progress.
Yeah, evoking a mood is hard.
Them greens are good. I'm loving them greens. I'm gonna stare at it later. Sorry. I'm just gonna fawn over them.
It's just a train and chat of everyone who used things other than Photoshop.
GIMP Live.
I literally have not used any program other than Lightroom and Photoshop for photo editing. So
I was afraid of Photoshop for the longest time. I'm like, I don't understand what's happening at all. And then I would like look at tutorials. Something like I still don't, because it was like,
what the fuck's going on?
yeah,
because it'd be like all those nerdy guys that Like, there'd be these nerdy guys like, yeah, blah, 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 and like they're saying all this stuff fast. I'm like, we're not friends, dude. This is a tutorial. You need to slow down. We're not best friends going out for beers later. Like, you need to slow down. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I got into Photoshop so early that like it was way before I started taking photos. So like I feel like I never got that point where like I was super confused because like I literally just started using it to like mess around with filters. Like, man, I should like I got a bunch of like super old graphic design, quote unquote, saved on my computer of like
forum signatures, you guys.
Oh, hell yeah. Dude, that's why I got into Photoshop.
That's
no
why I got
joke.
Photoshop
Making forum avatars and signatures. I used to be on a forum.
Oh my God, I love doing that.
I used to be on a forum
moderator.
that was specifically just about making like forum signatures. Like that's how deep I was into this shit.
Anyone remember Gaia Online? That was my jam.
Oh,
I still
yeah.
have it.
Back in my day.
Neo. Someone said Neopets. Ew. Oh my God, I love Neopets. Oh, yeah, I used to love what was that other one? Oh God, I don't think there was another one. No, Zynga didn't have anything. Zynga, literally everyone that I knew in high school would like hack my Zynga. I'm like, okay, this is not okay. And then yeah, they would hack it. I mean, to be fair, I used Pirates of the Caribbean passwords and it was really easy to get in, but I'm just saying, like, I hated Zynga. It was the worst.
Why is Mike talking about Bleach? Please go away.
I mean, hey, he needs a new forum avatar.
You don't go here. Get out of here.
Live journal. Oh my God, yes, Heidi. Live journal icons. I had Inuyasha.
That's where I used to download all my music on LiveJournal.
I had the
legally downloaded music on LiveJournal.
Is there anyone in this chat that has no idea what the fuck we're talking about? Because we're all really
We're all
showing our age
old
right now.
here.
We're showing our age right now.
Does anyone remember Habbo Hotel? I need to know. Habbo Hotel. No one?
What?
So that's a no from me.
Habbo Hotel, like you'd hang out with your friends, you could make your own club and stuff. Come on. You can still, I think there's still a mobile app. I don't know how I
It's
know.
a solid no from me.
Mobile app is if it's from that far. Like,
No, dude.
What?
It's still bumping. I need to get back on Habbo Hotel. I'm telling you.
Oh my god.
Mel's just gonna leave.
I'm sorry.
Oh my god, it's Jin!
Now that we've thoroughly derailed this. Sorry, Fluffy Fox, that we got just totally thrown off in the middle of this. And I think we should move on to the next photo.
I'm so distracted. You guys, Jin is here from the Philippines.
Wait, I remember making. Oh my God, Nina, I love you. Please marry me.
Okay, and
Oh my God,
let's move on to the next shot.
It's Felix. We can just like
Yeah, Felix. Felix took a photo. It's good. Let's move on.
move
No, I'm
on.
just kidding. Okay. I'm gonna start off on this one.
I'm so distracted.
Hey, there's another toga in this
Toga. has
second
appeared.
toga party.
Stop.
I really dig this shot. I feel like this photo kind of gets what I was talking about in the kind of what I was hoping for in the previous photo, where it's like cute but like mildly unsettling. Like,
Yeah, like Emra has that weird like I'm up to no good vibe in her eyes.
yeah. It being, on the playground feels like like I feel like this shot would feel weird if you didn't know the character. But if you do know the character, I think it works really well. Like I'm just trying to think like the context of like being on a playground, like a little kid's playground on the like bridge feels super weird to me, except for like the context of this shot being like, oh, it's Toga. It's like kind of this insane, cute schoolgirl character. I really like the color toning. I like those the muted colors and kind of the lifted blacks to give it that soft
That faded
feel.
look.
The I think that the skin looks really awesome in this shot. The one thing that's throwing me off is the eye retouch feels pretty wonky.
I was gonna say that's my biggest nitpick.
Yeah, they look pretty weird. I'll zoom in for you guys on the stream so you can see what we're talking about better. They just look like they look like they're almost like from like blurred or from like a different image. They just don't feel quite right, and I don't fully know what the case is for that, but
well, I know at the time Emma couldn't wear.
Yeah, I was wondering
contrast?
if it might have been during like there's a period of time where yeah, Emira couldn't wear contacts, so it might have been that was photoshopped in, but
regardless, I mean that's not.
Yeah, like it
still looks weird.
Yeah, feeling's still the same. The Photoshop job on it is a little bit weird. I also feel like this is the background is just a little bit cluttered. Like the blue swing off to the side. Like I just feel like that's just a little bit distracting in the back of the frame. Then there's another just singular bright dot that seems to be the theme of this week's critique session. Once again, switch over so everyone in the chat stream knows exactly which one I'm talking about.
I can't believe the white dot.
So many photos, but like it just draws your eyes and like super easy to remove. Like takes like 2 seconds if that. So just give that guy a quick little healing brush tool and you're gone. Good to go. You guys got thoughts, or are you gonna leave me hanging? Is it just
I'm admiring.
Sorry, I'm like in the chat.
I love the
guys?
color. Colors are nice. And
Yeah, I
she-
was like,
beautiful.
this doesn't have to do with this photo in particular, but like, if there's anything that Felix has shown when he submits to the critique is his wide range of types of color grading that he does to photos. Like, I don't remember if he submitted one last time, but the last one I remember reviewing is the Foes photo, the Land of the Lustrous photo that felt like really crisp and like vibrant, and it was like really saturated. And then this one is like so muted and moody, and I just think it's really cool to see his like all of the different things that he does in editing mode. Because I really love how moody this one feels. Like it feels spoopy, which is good for Toga.
Some other nitpicky things. I feel like dodge and burn on her like jawline / cheek could be a little bit better. There's just like a bit of like triangle of shadow on her like that transition spot between her jaw and her cheek that feels a little off to me, that I would maybe just have worked a little bit of dodging and burning on to even those tones out a little bit. It's pretty nitpicky though. I think a subtle thing that I really like in this shot is that she's kind of like pulling the chains to the side a little bit. I kind of like that it makes it feel a little bit more dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And I dig that.
Creating some nice tension.
Yeah.
I feel like with her eyes, and I'm zoomed in, obviously, they kind of, they almost look like glass. Like, I feel like it's, I don't know how to explain it. It's, you know how like when you look at an eye, there's like dark little lines around, like it looks like like all of that was taken out. Like there's no shadow in the pupil.
You mean the
I don't
iris?
even know. Yeah,
Iris.
like, but I don't I don't know how to explain it because it looks like it's blurred. Like I don't know how to explain.
We talked about this, Mallo. Where were you?
We did talk about
Oh, sorry. Don't invite me to these anymore. I'm like looking at it and
Vote kick Mallo.
We were saying they felt kind of like oddly blurry, like kind of like they weren't from the photo.
I'm not here. I'm for decoration. Hey guys, I wasn't listening. I'm sorry. I'm the worst.
We love
so what
you,
they said.
We love you,
just,
Mallo. We love you.
We love you. We're just giving you shit for no reason.
It's a great photo. A+.
Felix, get the fuck out of here, man. You and your leather jacket.
Whoa.
You're making me look like an asshole,
Sarah,
Felix.
calm it down.
I give up.
So with that, do we have any other thought? Oh yeah, it's the Tuesday. We're throwing off the pattern here.
We're confused.
Whatever you guys said, I agree with this photo.
Sweet. Any other thoughts?
No.
Bella's like, no, I'm good. None.
Neil, shut up.
What did Neil say?
Everyone should start wearing leather jackets like Felix. No, I would die.
Die.
I love dying.
But no.
No.
Probably...
we should all go to a con and cosplay Felix and have it be like 10,000 degrees outside and wear a leather jacket anyway.
I'd feel like some 50-year-old biker chick or something. I would not go over well. It wouldn't be cool.
That's a look.
Which would work well for Colossal Con since usually there's bikers everywhere. So just join them. Photo's great, guys. Great photo.
Okay. And on to the next shot. Okay. So this next one is from Heidi and Jared.
Yay!
Heidi looks great.
Yeah, so it's kind of like
that's all I need to say.
Co-op shoot where the shots is from Jared and the editing is from Heidi. So
got it.
Just context wise.
Cool.
Sarah, why don't you dig in?
Let me just. This is a really cool location. Where is this? God damn it. Freaking Seattle. I really love the expression on Heidi's face and her pose. She feels so majestic and she's just ready to pummel you with that lightsaber, right? I feel like I'm missing something here.
Wait, what? What are you missing?
Well, it's from Star Wars, but I don't recognize the character.
Well, that's just a base feeling for me.
Anyway, I was like, I feel like I'm missing something here. But yeah, even though it's nothing's you don't see anything else in the photo, it feels oddly actiony. I think the wind in her hair is obviously helping that, but I really like how it feels that way, even though she's so centered and it she's not necessarily, you can't see what she's looking at, but I think because the expression in her eyes is so strong, and then her pose and that wind going through her hair is just really bringing that to life.
Heidi says it is Mara Jade, but it's based on the Kotobukiya Bishojo statue. Hopefully I mauled that pronunciation.
What the fuck?
What did you just say?
I know,
yep.
What?
I said words,
What?
I think.
I'm sorry, wait, I'm just looking at the wiki real quick, because I was I'm not super savvy on Star Wars, but I felt very I was I know that's a lightsaber, but I don't recognize this character.
I know that's a lightsaber. I've seen a Star Wars. They got them light beams.
Awkward. Anyway, so location's super dope. The only thing is, which also I think is another common theme in this critique, is I think the framing or the where she is doesn't quite work for me. Only because there are those pillars in the background, and with the way that her body is juxtaposed against them, it's not necessarily working for me. I think those pillar things are cool, but for me they're kind of just background distractions, and not really doing much.
I kind of wonder how I'd feel if, like, there's two ways that maybe I'd approach it with them. If she were not like directly in front of one, if like, you know, it was pillar, her.
Yeah.
Or
I think that's what bothers me.
Or if she was like, if there were all those pillars and she was like, you know, among them, they fully filled up the frame. I think it's because there's not another one on like the left side of the frame too, that it feels a little weird.
Well, she almost like becomes a pillar, which is kind of odd. I think that's what's kind of like unnerving for me. Because you're right, I do kind of wish I could see
pillar of
one
the photo.
Shut up. Goodbye. I'm signing off.
Well, it was a nice end of the critique series. Bye, guys. I love the wind in her hair in this shot, which I feel like is one of those things where, like, if you just look at the photo, you're like, oh yeah, wind, hair, awesome, looks great. But I feel like from having shot wigs in windy environments, I feel like for every like good like flowing wig hair shot that I've got like 30 bad ones. Yeah, like, and oftentimes like just the wind just fucks up wigs. So the fact that you got a nice windswept wig action look is dope. I really like the effect of the lightsaber. I think it's maybe a bit like it reads as a bit I guess fake to me, but still I'd say better than like a lot of times that I see them in photos, because I feel like I see a lot of bad like lightsaber edited into photos, and this is not what I would even remotely call a bad example. I think the only reason why this one reads a little bit off is like it's such a highlight, but I don't feel like I see it causing a glow off of like there's a glow around the lightsaber, but not like anywhere, like the glow isn't showing off of her at all. It's probably the only reason why it feels a little bit fake to me still.
Same. Yeah, I was gonna bring that up too.
I'd also maybe soften the glow a little bit, just off the lightsaber itself, just because you're shooting in such a bright environment. Because like the glow's for that kind of thing, glow's going to happen more in a darker environment, but you're in like a very bright sunny area, so you're not going to get that much glow off of an item that's a specular highlight. So I would maybe tone down the actual like glow off of the lightsaber.
Heidi just said that she did add it, but it didn't work because the outfit is also blue in her thought. Yeah, I've found that you kind of just like have to add a hell of a lot more than you think when you're doing it. Because I've had the same problem where like the thing I want to glow is also the same color as the costume. Another tip I've done is usually I'll do like a color layer, like I'll do like a brush layer on soft light, so it like saturates like the thing below it, and then I'll duplicate it and put it on screen. It just like helps it like pop a little more when you're doing like a color on color reflective thing. If that makes any sense. Heidi, you can always just message me. I didn't explain that very well.
Come on, this is what we're here for, Sarah. The people want good information.
I don't know what Photoshop is.
I really like the dramatic look off camera. I think this is kind of the thing that I'm talking about, where, you know, if you've got like a serious look and it's and the look is off of the frame, like you don't need to like say what's there, but it communicates a lot of like action and gives a story feel to the image.
Dude, Heidi is straight up smizing in this photo. Teach me. I'm zoomed in. Beautiful.
I think the location's really cool. I don't know a lot about Star Wars, but like it seems like they're in sand a lot, or like deserted areas. So I think that's kind of cool. I almost want to see this horizontal for some reason, because I like the pillars.
It feels I was gonna say it feels a bit tight, frame wise, considering like especially because it's like there's very little bokeh to this image. Like everything feels in focus,
Yeah.
which feels a little odd with how tight the framing is.
Yeah, Neil also brought up he wished he'd seen the shot taken a little bit wider and even perhaps a bit lower, just to create like a more dynamic angle. And I think that would have been.
Oh yeah, that would look cool.
Heidi's always like,
Neil.
Heidi's usually like always on point with. She's a lot like Melinda, just like I know what I'm doing. You don't have to tell me. I've never had to like. I mean, when I've shot with Heidi, it's very in the moment, but like I've never had to tell her what to do. She just knows. I'm like, okay, all right, just you tell me what to do. I mean, for real. But so I don't know. I really appreciate the hair and the cape. Very natural. Obviously, it was.
I didn't even notice the cape. Like
yeah,
I
dude.
literally
shit, the
just
cape.
noticed.
I didn't
that
notice
cape.
the cape either. Damn, we need more cape. Where's that cape flipper? I'm here.
More
I'll fly to
cape,
Seattle right now.
please.
The lighting is badass because like I'm always really afraid to shoot in harsh lighting, and this just is tasteful. Like even though like the side of your face is like a little washed out, I like it because I can tell where the sun's coming from. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't think you always have to be afraid to have those little parts because I mean it's realistic. It's gonna wash out a little bit. I personally don't have an issue with the lightsaber being that bright because when I've seen them, I'm like, holy shit, like it looks bright as shit. But definitely, I noticed that you brighten up the suit. I maybe like Sarah and Andrew said, like brighten it up more. But girl, you're on fire. I mean, living and dying at the same time for this.
I also want to like give major kudos to Jared though for like because they're both pretty new at the photo thing, but they shot in broad daylight. Like I would never do that. Like
No.
I know my photos are gonna
the
come out
rim
like
light looks
shit.
really good. I'd be curious to know if you guys used like some sort of bounce or a reflector at all, because the lighting looks really well balanced given that it's like
It does.
daylight and such a strong light. So I kind of feel like it might have been the use of a reflector, and if that's the case, the reflector looks really good. If not, it's the lighting still looks good.
But either way, it looks good. So.
And I like the colors. I don't think you really need to go overboard with it because again, I feel like with Star Wars, nothing's super like the environment's not always super. At least what I've seen, okay, it's not super oversaturated like when they're in the desert, like, and so it would have been weird to like make everything like really orange or something. I think I like that you pop out more than everything else, and from what I
think it
see,
works well with kind of that doing the Bishojo statue version of the character.
Yeah.
It feels sparkly.
and I love how the goggles. I kind of like that they're off to the side, like that. It makes me feel like the wind is that intense. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
Some people might nitpicky and be like, no, put it right in the center. But I kind of love how it's.
No, it feels
You know what I
way
mean?
more natural.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
great. Attention to detail is great, and I usually suck at seeing it. That's what Photoshop's for, to fix those things.
Cool. We got any final thoughts on this shot?
You are beautiful.
You're
You're great,
into this earth,
and you guys are like
killing it.
couple goals though. I mean, working together like I mean, skills. I mean, it's great. Good time. Love it.
And with
We're coming out to Seattle soon. I wish.
I'm coming out to Seattle sooner.
Fuck you guys.
Um,
Must be nice to have all that PL.
Sarah will go when you get back from Japan.
I'm staring at you,
I
Sarah.
have no excuse. My brother lives out there. I should go more.
Okay, with that, we are going to take a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back with our intermission segment. So we will be back in 5 minutes. We're back. Thanks for sticking with us those 5 painful minutes. Hopefully they weren't too excruciating. So we're gonna try something new today, and we are going to hold on. Let me make sure I have my all my stuff on my end set up right. Let's move that over here for right now. We are going to do a live Q&A. So hopefully this goes well. We'll see. So we're gonna do this for right now. We're gonna try it at 10 minutes for the first time around. Let's start now. So it's up to you guys, chat, for you to let us know what you want us to answer. So we're starting now. Get those questions rolling.
I'm so confused. What is happening?
I'm sorry. Trying something new, Sarah. Why won't you let me
so
try?
if I type in chat, does it show up?
No. Like I literally have to add it as a header manually, but like.
Oh, I see.
give me real questions. How to green? That's favorite Andrew favorite Yowie pairing. This is a good one from Heidi. I like this one. So many. We're gonna go with the one from Heidi. What's your dream shoot?
Oh my god, I know mine.
Are we all answering?
Yeah, go for it.
So, actually, I've gotten this question a lot on Instagram with that stupid question sticker thing. My dream shoot is anything from, and this is from a photographer's perspective. My dream shoot is to shoot anything from any of those really elaborate outfits from Tsubasa Chronicle or from Holic. I really love those designs. I would really, really love to shoot Holic. I think it's a super underrated series and you don't see it a lot, and some of the official art for it is just fucking stunning. So if I could shoot that in a really dope ass location, that would just be so cool. I would learn freaking lights just for that shoot. So that's my dream shoot. Anything Tsubasa, anything Holic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I know mine, and it's I want to do the a scene from the OP of Spice and Wolf. But there's so logistically it's pretty much impossible. There's just so much so many difficult parts to that shoot, and it would just pretty much be impossible because I don't want to Photoshop anything in for it. So it'd have to be in the mountains. It would have to be snowy, and I'd have to have a Hodo cosplayer that would be comfortable with doing a nude shoot in the snow. For the record, I don't want to do lewds at all. The goal of that shoot would not to be even remotely lewd or to even have any nudity. But that's my dream shoot. It's just I'm not even bothering doing it because there's just so much logistical nightmares to it that I'm just that would be amazing to do.
Look, you have a volunteer, Heidi. Heidi said she'll do it.
Yeah, no.
That would be fun to see. Dealing with the snow.
Oh God, there's so much to it that would be just incredibly hard.
I'm wrong. I'm gonna just get that image out of my head.
Ginio will do it. Yeah, no, I know Ginio. No, I know Ginio would do that. There's no question. Ginio would be like, "Where do I sign up, Andrew?"
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit.
Nina was around when he did it for me. I mean, he had his underwear on, but it was, yeah, it was interesting.
Okay, Mallo, your turn.
Mine is really old school. One of my dream shoots is from Outlaw Star. And
yeah.
Outlaw Star is my jam, and no one cosplays from it. I'm sure people do, but no one really cosplays from it. I want to actually build and shoot Melfina in her tank.
Hell yeah.
Oh my god, that would be the coolest thing ever. It's something I've daydreamed about since probably when I first started shooting cosplay. I'm that'd be so cool, but it would be hey, I'd be to my stepdad, hey, you want to build a tank? Because I don't know anything about tools or Home Depot. Let's go. I'd have to find someone who would be okay with possibly drowning in this makeshift tank.
For art, it's fine.
I would love to do that. Or I would love to like, yeah, I think that would be the top one. I won't go into one, but that's the top one for sure.
Let's do this one should be quick. Favorite lens.
Should we say why?
I'd say just since we can get more questions in, I'm just gonna say my favorite lens. Mine's 70 to 200 and 35. Those are my two favorites, which is a cheat, but
my favorite, actually, I don't use it a lot at all, is the 85. The bokeh that you can get with it is just fucking beautiful, and I feel like no other lens compares to it. The only problem is that I just am not in situations where it's optimal, so I don't use it a lot, but I love it.
Mine's the same as Sarah's because it like gives that like dreamy, like you said, the bokeh, but it's really hard to shoot with. I rented it for, I think it was Katsu last year, and I was like, what? Like it's I feel like it's a little hard to like not get the model blurry, but I think I just don't really know how to shoot with it well. So it is nice.
okay. Now the next question is, ooh, they went off screen. Let's fix that. If you could choose a fully funded destination shoot, where?
Oh, that's hard.
God.
That's easy. Iceland.
Iceland for me.
I'm like, come on, guys.
I was thinking that too, but I'm not picking it because you guys picked it.
Iceland and New Zealand.
Yeah, New Zealand would be amazing too.
But so Iceland would probably be my top.
Ireland would be badass.
Yeah. Western Ireland is, man, that countryside's beautiful.
Okay. Let's see here. Next question is, what's the worst circumstances you've ever shot in?
The worst?
Yeah.
I don't want to.
You don't have to answer if you don't want to, Mel. For me, it's mostly been skiing related stuff because like skiing is mostly like, hey, we're gonna be outside for like to get this shot for like 4 to 5 hours straight, and it's gonna be like 10 degrees, and your hand's gonna freeze off. But then you'll get the one shot, and you'll be super happy.
I'm going to get a little controversial here because everyone knows that that's what I do best. I think one of my worst shooting experiences was actually KatsuCon this past year, so 2018 KatsuCon, because I experienced a lot of sniping over the shoulder shooting.
Oh my god.
Ooh, so I think I'm going to transition into that because that was the next question I was going to ask. Is
which was what?
Have you ever dealt with someone sniping your shoot? And
I deal with it all the fucking time.
Yes.
I think it's rude as fuck. And what's really unfortunate is that a lot of well-known photographers do it. And I think it's bullshit. I think luckily I work with people who call them out in the middle of my shoot and say like, stop fucking shooting over the shoulder.
I want to say something about that real quick because just to get context down. We do it to each other's shoots
because we're friends.
Because we have got a good rapport with each other and we're friends and we know. So like that, just context wise, like if you're gonna shoot over the shoulder for someone, make sure that you ask them first. And the reason why we do it just unprompted is because like we've worked with each other for a bunch. We're good friends and we're comfortable with that with each other.
And also like usually like we talk about it beforehand. So like, for example, like at Otakon this weekend, like I'll be seeing like Neil and I'll be like, hey, if you want to shoot while I'm shooting, go ahead. I don't care.
Absolutely. But yeah, I try to, it's hard, but oftentimes like if it's not a hallway shot, I'll call people out. If it's a hallway shot, like hallway, I'm going to use quotes. Like if it's an area that's like high traffic, I just kind of am just like, whatever, my photo is going to be better than everyone else's from this situation anyways. So like, screw it. Like, I don't care. Like it's frustrating, but like,
I also want to put it from a cosplayer's perspective. I was shooting with someone at KatsuCon so I was shooting them and it was a paid shoot. And two guys were sniping over my shoulder, and the cosplayer, I mean, I was telling them to go away too, but the cosplayer actually got really pissed off and said, can you please like not like interfere with the shoot? Because not only were they like interrupting like time that they had booked with me, but they were being sniped by people that they hadn't given permission to be sniped by. So I know from a cosplayer's perspective, it's like really uncomfortable.
I've called someone out before online when I've seen a photo and I knew it was absolutely from the pose that I had set up, and I was just like, hey, nice pose. I wonder how you got them posed like that.
I've literally seen people like they're sniping, but then they're like trying to tell the cosplayer to turn a different way. I'm like, bitch, this isn't your shoot. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, hey, like, me to turn. Like, what the fuck?
Just like have some common courtesy. Like I've literally seen some of my friends be in the middle of a shoot and someone just literally jumps in front of their camera. Like no words, they just do it and it happens. And I'm just like, just ask. Like it takes you 10 seconds to ask someone. So just to kind of sum up, that was probably my worst shooting experience was Katsucon this year. And yes, I've been sniped too many times to count. If I got paid, I'd be fucking rich.
So we're gonna. I know our timer has hit 0, but I'm gonna answer the very last question that I saw that I got was, do you have a convention out of country that you wish to attend? And I have one for sure. I don't know if it's a traditional convention, but Photocon in Poland. Like hell yes. If you don't know
it got canceled this year.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it did.
That
something
sucked.
With like the permit or something got fucked up.
Oh, yeah. That's awful.
No.
Well, I'm glad I didn't make any plans to try and go to it this year because, but yeah, if you guys look,
I don't know any.
Photocon is kind of the one that I would love to go to. It just is such a amazing setup and opportunity. If you guys don't know, it's in Poland and it's literally a quote unquote invite only like cosplayer and photographer convention. It's invite only, but you can submit to get an invite, so it's kind of, you know, like it's not like you can submit if you're interested in going. That said, I would love to, it's like I would love to go, but I don't have the ability to travel to Poland at the moment, so that's why I'm not even bothering. But that's the one
I don't know it. I don't know any out of country cons, to be honest. I don't really know. I feel like I convention they are, but I would love to attend a convention out of the US. I just don't know where because I don't know what they're called.
Cool. And with that ends our Q&A section. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I think it was fun. If you guys enjoyed it, we'll keep doing it. Just let me know. Once again, I'll just, since as a reminder, I'll post in the chat of the survey that I have. If you enjoyed it, let me know in that survey if you can take the time to fill it out. With that, let's get back to critiquing some images.
And I apologize that I got really heated about that sniping comment, but I'm fucking triggered when I think of that. So
Sarah's like,
you're just saying what we're all wanting to say.
I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna say what I want.
You're the voice, man. I'm
don't
totally
give
cool
a
with that.
fuck.
No one else is gonna say it, so I'm gonna say it.
Dang, girl.
If people are gonna hate me for it, whatever.
You're being real.
You're not worth my time anyway.
Joke's on you, Sarah. I already hate you. Okay, so with that, let's move on to the next image in the critique. This one is by Chris Hickey, and Mallo, once you get it up on your screen and look at it, why don't you lead us off?
Come on, let me look.
You're just probably like, what? Oh, I gotta critique a photo. Ugh.
Where am I? What time? What year is it? Okay, hold on. Scoot up. Y'all, I'm Andrew, I swear. Okay. Guys, I'm an old elderly woman. Okay, hold on.
Me too, man.
I
Me
can't.
too.
I
need to go to bed.
This disclaimer. I told them I didn't wear my glasses because I put them down. Like, I hate it. Okay, I'm looking. Okay.
Closer. Should we all just be really close to the screen?
So I'm thinking, this is a good photo. Guys, those greens though, they are so good. Oh my god. Let me see.
Oh my
You know those are
God.
good greens when Mallow compliments your greens.
Yes, they're so nice. Got a little blue greenish. They got some spearmint going on in there. There's a little yellow. I mean, it's
Some
just
wintergreen.
Man,
some-
spearmint is the word of the day.
I am notorious of making in the past greens all the same shade of green, and I'm starting to learn that not how it works. And they're like one leaf can have 3 different shades, so I think kind of mixing them together is really nice and realistic. Let's move on to the content. She's super adorable. I love her expression. I don't know. I really like it. I think it's cute. She doesn't look really uncomfortable in this. Like, I feel like I wouldn't have wanted her foot to disappear into the grass.
Yes,
But, like, she doesn't look that uncomfortable. Maybe I would have. I don't know. It's hard to say. I guess it depends on the person, but she might be hunched just a tiny, tiny bit, but she doesn't look like uncomfortable to me. I think the lighting's really great. And the skin retouching's good. I probably would have maybe touched up the shadows a little bit around the chin and like in the corners of the mouth. But besides that, I think the skin retouching is great. I really, really like it.
I dig the heck out of the framing of this image.
Yeah.
too.
With the way that the foreground bokeh is framing her, and then she's against the trees there that kind of provide that different color pop behind her to kind of have her stick out of the photo a bit more. I just really like the framing. Conversely, I think the pose is maybe one of the weakest points of the image. I feel like I think we talked about an image like this in the last critique, which was when you kind of got, you're kind of hugging your knee like that, you kind of get your back and hunched up like that, and just kind of gives a weird shape to your back and kind of gives you a hunchback-ish shape, even if that's not what you look like at all. So I would have maybe tried to like, if you still wanted her in that position, I would have had her pull her leg up closer to her body so that she had to lean less forward. And then maybe not have her head resting there, just so you can have the back be more straightened out and less hunched like that. I also really enjoy the lighting in the image. It's a real nice soft light. It's got a provides some really nice depth to the image. Like the highlight on her like cheek, on her arm feels really soft and nice. I think someone maybe, and I was reading it, I think the collar also kind of, like when you have a cosplay with a collar, it kind of eats part of the neck. And in this kind of
like jut
shot,
your chin out a little bit.
in this kind of shot, you like, just because of the angle, you completely lose her neck. So, yeah.
I can't tell if the image is tilted or if she's on a slight hill.
Looks like a hill.
I think she's on a hill.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'm looking for chances to break out those sweet Dutch angle emotes.
Oh no, because I see the horizon line. Fine. Yeah. I think the fact that she's sitting on a hill, I think, is what makes the pose for me not work, because it does feel like she is falling forward, but not necessarily like in a good way.
I don't know if it bothers me.
I don't know. I just
For
feel
once.
like I'm like falling over. regardless. But on the contrary, though, I think the pose is interesting for Foes because I feel like you typically see her like so happy in the show or the manga or whichever one you do. And I like how this one's a little more subdued and it kind of touches on Foes' more like weaker points in their personality, feeling vulnerable, which I think is interesting. So symbolically, I like what this pose is. I think it's cool. God damn it, Andrew.
What?
That icon.
Oh. More people need to subscribe so that we can get those Dutch angle icons spammed in the chat.
So good.
I feel like her one eye is like immensely more bright than the other. I mean, the other one's getting casted by a shadow, so I mean it makes sense, but I feel like it's maybe a tad too bright.
Yeah, I think it's Dutch a little. It's almost borderline lazy.
Not terrible though. It's just
I'd say maybe if you brightened that eye in shadow just a little bit, it'd probably balance it out.
Yeah. This definitely is powerful as horizontal though. Like
this shot needs to be.
Yeah.
Could have been nice. It could have been in a certain situation nice vertical. Like it'd be a nice print or something like that if I think about like a print, but I really like this because you get more of the
I have no desire for this to be a vertical. I think horizontal works really well. Something else I wanted to say on the pose is with the leg that is out all the way. I wish it was just there was a bit of bend in the knee so that leg wasn't entirely straight.
Yeah.
Just like a little bit of bend in the knee, and you kind of break up that line a little bit and make it feel a little bit more dynamic. Cool. Any other thoughts on this one?
It's beautiful. I love the colors.
Me too.
Awesome. Let's move on to this next shot from Maddie. Make sure I get it up on my screen before I start talking. Okay. I really dig the mood of this image.
Me too.
I like those kind of those teals in the shadow. They make for a really interesting color tone that I feel like you don't see very often. And just creates a very I feel like that where I see that toning is in a lot of fashion photography, like high fashion.
It is very editorial.
And it works really nicely here. It's easily my favorite part of the image is that color toning. It's super good. It works in the sand just awesome. Like the very bottom of the frame where you've got that like teal going to that tan in the highlights. Ooh, that's good. I feel like though the composition is just a little bit odd to me. It's a really strong composition in some respects, but it's a little odd in others. Just I feel like it feels a bit too like a 3-layer stack, like we're having the Neapolitan of photo backgrounds. I kind of wish the camera angle was a little bit lower so that you got that, like, I feel like they're just a bit too much of these very square chunks of background. And if you got it lower and had her more against the sky, I think it would feel a bit more powerful.
Yeah, I feel like right now, I think because she's so vertical, like it's just kind of like these opposing line directions kind of working against each other instead of together. Because Nina did bring up that the lines in this photo are really nice, and I agree. I think the Neapolitan look is cool, but it's not quite there yet.
So what I would say is I like I have no problem with the lines. It's how they're kind of chunking the image. Like you've got one line that's essentially cutting through her torso, and it
No,
just
I know,
feels
yeah.
like a little weird. It's not that I don't have a problem with the lines in the image. It's
Well, I think
literally
we're kind
just
of
how
saying
they.
the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to make sure that was clear, that I'm not saying that I dislike the idea of lines.
We hate lines.
Lines are the worst. Uh, uh, Fluffy Fox in chat says that she's kind of losing her one foot, and I would agree. It's kind of
I mean, realistically, you're not going to see
yeah.
someone's foot. You know what I mean? Like, you can't. Yeah, you can't. I mean, maybe you have them skills, but I probably would lose a foot in the sand.
I do agree, though. Maybe it does look like it kind of dug a little deeper.
Yeah.
So just to be really nitpicky, just to make sure like that first step is the first fresh step in that sand.
Yeah. I also like the pose. I like to a certain extent, but I wish she was holding out her skirt on the other side. That would balance out the pose a lot.
Yeah. I couldn't figure out why I didn't like the skirt, and that's why I wish it was going the other way.
Yeah, because that would balance out her pose. I wish the leg that is behind her right leg, I wish that was probably a bit more forward. Especially if you're going to keep the skirt in the side that it's on.
Yeah.
I also wish like it would be really cool to see the skirt like flipped out instead of just being held. Like that way she could like flip out and like have her hand up like this instead of holding on, and you kind of like her arms are down and pretty much in the same place on both sides. If she like was flipping her skirt up, she could follow through and have her hand up a little higher, and then her arms would feel a bit more dynamic as well.
Yeah, I was like, there's a lot of good like forward motion on like both her arms and like her right foot, but then like the left leg is like just so straight and like so static. It kind of doesn't. Like there's a lot of like implied movement going around. I mean, oh my God, what worse? I'm tired. Going on, but that left foot just being stuck there, just kind of like the illusion of that is kind of lost. Skirt flip, yes.
I also would. Oh, go ahead, Malin.
Oh, this one thing. You guys said something about like holding the skirt in both hands. Is that what you had said?
Having it flip out to the
flip out, yeah.
You were like, right, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'd agree. The only thing really, honestly, I think the color grading is really cool. It's different than probably what I would have done, but I like it. So I don't know. It kind of inspires me to play around with yellows more. But I would have definitely maybe brightened the model a little more to just not blend so much with the background. But besides that, I think this is pretty legit. Like, I don't even really have much to say on it besides that.
Two nitpicks. One, I would probably clean up just those little dark areas in the sand that looks like the sand had been disturbed. From the model. I just think it would make the frame look a little neater and kind of feel a little bit more magical without like there being any kind of like tracks in the sand. The other thing is I'm seeing a little bit of color banding in the sky. You can fix that. It's kind of a pain in the butt to deal with, but you can fix that. I'd look up some guides as to how to get rid of banding online, but you can clean that up, and it would kind of make the image just read a bit smoother. That's all I got there. Any other thoughts on this one before we move to the next one?
I don't think so.
Lovely.
Love the colors.
Lovely.
Okay. Then let's move on to the next shot. This one is from Marley. Sarah, why don't you take the lead here?
Okay. Oh, Love Live. Someone's favorite. I just want to say another brave soul who shot in broad daylight and made it work somehow. Like, I don't understand. I like how fun and saturated the colors are. I think like when I think Love Live, I mean I used to cosplay Love Live, I should know, but I think it's like because it is so like fun and poppy, it's like you can use that opportunity to do like more saturated and fun colors. So I really like that in this image. I'm trying not to go to the thing that I don't like, but I can't help it like right away, but I can't help it because it's literally like in the middle of the image, but I really don't like how the gun is like the water gun is like right in the center of her face.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
if it was just a little bit lower,
just a little bit lower and like even angled out a little bit because like the position of the gun itself is also like not good. You're just like losing a lot of information when you shoot it like that. Like you do like especially with any kind of weapon that you're looking at it like that. Like even if you had like a spear or a sword, like you want to cheat it out to the side a little bit so there's more information of that item. Like, yeah, realistically, it makes no freaking sense.
Yeah,
but in a photo,
it's hard
better.
because you're fighting against realism, but like,
well, like the realism at the end is the photo that you're looking at. So if it looks good in the photo, then that's what counts. So I'm sorry, I feel really bad that I went right to the thing. I couldn't help it. It was right there.
It's fine, Sarah. It's fine. Because there's something that also the gun is pretty obvious, but there's something that I feel about this image that like feels like such an obvious choice that it's interesting that it wasn't made with this shot. Is in the background I have no idea what is in the background of this shot.
Me either.
However, you've got these perfect radial lines or circular item with spokes going in, and her head is so close to being in the center of this,
with it.
and you could have all these radial lines coming in right to her head and have that be the focal point of the image. And like, I'm just like, you're so close. You're so close. You could have just shifted the camera angle. Just come on.
It could have created so much cool like line movement in the photo.
Yeah. That's what I really, really want for this image is I just want it to be shifted over so badly, especially because like the bottom right of the image where you're getting that green coming through of the grass, like that's probably like, that's not doing any favors for the image. So I'd just like, shift it over and probably try and get that out of the background of the shot. Man, am I gonna have to carry you guys home?
Sorry, we're elderly.
God, my two co-hosts for the night are I feel like I'm losing them. Okay.
I'm tired. I'm kind of like, what are words?
I just want a picture of Sarah.
I'm just getting like lower and lower in my chair.
Literally me on my 10-minute break at work. Okay, anyway. You got something to say about it?
Go for it, Mallo. Go for it, Mallo. I got energy.
Okay. First thing that pops out is, I'm gonna say this as kindly as I can, but her skin looks like a zombie. Like her torso is like a weird, scary
I see it.
yellow.
I think it's reflecting, the grass color is reflecting on her.
That's her skin though.
No,
I
but
know
grass...
what her skin is. I'm saying the color, the reason why it's got that weird yellow tone is I think it's the sunlight's bouncing off the grass and that color cast is coming onto her.
That's some crazy grass. If it's making your skin look like that.
Have you not? I've gotten that before. It's.
What?
Ooh.
That's some radioactive grass.
I mean, it's not that unusual, Mallo.
Well, if your grass is reflecting off your skin, like I feel like her arm on her hip looks great, and then her side of her face looks great, and then it's that yellow. So you just want to like be sure to change that because it does give that kind of like dead look, and it just doesn't mesh with the rest. Guys, I'm a nice person. I'm a nice person. I don't mean that she's dead. I'm dead. I'm dead after this. No one unfollow me now. She's cute from what I can see with the gun blocking her face. But I'm just saying the skin needs fixed. I'm not saying this gracefully. I'm not nice.
Oh, I love you, Mallo. Thank God.
I'm just, you gotta watch out.
Mallo gonna get you guys. Watch out.
I'm not good with words. Like if I wrote this down and you read it, then you'd be like, oh, I'm trying to say that it just is miscolored and it just needs fixed. But it's great that one side of her. So you just gotta watch out for that. Because I've had that happen where like I've had parts of like if I've shot like near nighttime, like for some reason like people's skin will get like a cooler like what's the best way to go about this? If it's like near like sunset and the sun's hitting half of their body, I've had it where like half their body's like a cool tone and I'm like, that's fine. And then I look at it later, I'm like, okay, no, it's not, because it literally looks like half her body's like dead and the other's like super, super bright. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why I don't make tutorials. So yeah, that's what I have to say. Andrew, your turn.
What the final thought I want to have on this shot is I feel like the pose is a little bit weird. If you had her like torso wasn't straight onto camera, I think that would fix a lot. If you had her right shoulder out more towards camera, it would feel more natural.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably pose-wise. Like, I like the pose. It's just a little bit weird with her torso being straight onto camera. If you just turned it a little bit, you'd be good. Okay, I think we should roll on to the next one before these two lovely ladies just
She's so
die
cute.
off.
She's cute.
I'm old, you guys.
All right.
Don't let these Asian genes deceive you.
She's a cute cosplayer and she's not dead, okay? I'm just saying.
We love Love Live.
Beautiful. Oh.
I mean, I don't love Love Live. Let's not get into dogs.
Oh my god.
Where? Dog where?
Fluffy Fox just said her dog says
Oh, God.
Oh.
All right. So we're going to move on to the next shot here. This next shot is from Megan and our second of a Howl's Moving Castle shot taken in a field.
Hell yeah, give me that Studio Ghibli content.
Mallo, why don't you jump into this one?
You sure you want me to? Okay.
Yeah, I do.
I'm excited about this because I love this movie so much. Makes me cry. Don't ever watch it with me ever because it's like ugly crying. So good. First off, I love the location. It works. It works for her. I'm like feeling the vignette, but like I feel like it's a little uneven for some reason. I think it might just be like me.
I think it's because I feel like the closer foreground areas the vignette makes sense, but like the background the vignette not having it in the sky in the on the right corner of the image, top right corner. I think that's where it feels a little bit weird to me.
Okay.
Because I feel like it makes sense with the glow, and like the glow in her hands was affecting the lighting around her, but then that shouldn't be affecting necessarily the light in the sky behind her. That's why I feel like it feels a little bit weird to my eyes.
Yeah. I love the concept and like basically taking it from the movie. I really appreciate that. I feel like her pose is a little stiff somehow. I don't know if it's her arms, like they should be like like they should be in more or
Yeah, I think
something
they're
like
a little
that.
too out.
Yeah.
I think you feel like there's a lot of tension in her shoulders with this shot.
Yeah,
I feel like they need to be rolled back a little bit.
I totally think it's so cool when people put special effects because I suck at them. I try to put stuff like that.
They say that it's actually a flash in the flowers that was getting that effect.
What?
I mean, the glow in the hands was added, but I was gonna say like the lighting on her is awesome and makes sense that you that it's not enough. Well, it is an effect, but it's a practical effect. So.
I wonder if the glow on her dress is so good. I literally was like,
exactly.
How did you do that?
Yeah, I was like, I'm not good at that at all.
Yeah.
I probably would have desaturated her hair a little bit because it's a little yellow. And she's got that like real silver gray hair at this point in the movie. But I really, really love the location. I just appreciate when people like try to do these like I said, like it's like a screenshot from like a live action. It's really cool. And she's cute. She's so cute, and I love.
It's just gonna be comments on every photo from that one.
Cute.
She's cute.
Well, if you're cute, you're cute. That's all I gotta say about it.
But real talk though, her expression is so nice.
Yeah.
So serene. Like she is mesmerized by like Howl's heart, basically.
Don't talk about it. I'm gonna cry. Okay, someone else move on. I'll keep talking about that. Someone go.
So, I think I would maybe like to see the sky desaturated. I think the sky is probably my biggest thing. It feels really like odd and inconsistent. With the deep blue in the top left corner and like feeling gray in the top right. I think maybe if you had a darker and kind of desaturated across the frame, it could look really neat. Love the shot. I feel like the special effect is like, I would maybe tone down a bit of the glow like on her hand, because to me when I first looked at it, I felt like there was like a glow effect just like dropped in over like on top of the image, like not that it was in her hand, but it was over her hand. The more I look at it, I kind of feel like, oh, I can read that it's in her hand. But I think if you like did a little bit of masking on it to make it feel like if the light was spilling out between her thumb and her finger a little bit, and it was, not as glowy on her thumb, it would read more as a light emanating from inside of her hands. That would work really well. I really like the shot. I maybe would play around with the color of the yellows a bit. But yeah, that's what I got. Any other thoughts? I'm trying to get through these final ones before we all die.
It should be cool.
All right. I think with that we should move on to the next shot. This one is from someone who has also been a guest in the last critique of Nina.
Ooh, Nina.
And of someone who submitted to the critique as being the model in Heidi.
So meta.
I know when she submitted this one, she said this. We talked about this earlier, where this was a shot that was kind of in a situation that was like kind of quote unquote sniping, but in a situation where it was very much understood and welcomed.
Nina, how dare you?
How dare you? We all shoot the same person with the same pose.
You are? We love you.
Yeah, we all were like, okay, we're all gonna shoot Heidi. Okay, bye. Yay.
Let me see. Actually, I have to get the photo up on my screen. I love the colors in this shot. Like the colors were just popping that Sunday night. So like there was so much color to play around with, but I really like the way you enhanced it in the shot. Those like deep blues and purples that kind of gradient to orange with the sunset. I super dig. I feel like maybe she's a bit too dark, especially in her face. But it does make for a cool mood to the shot, though. But I think she's just overall just a teeny bit too dark, and I know that's super hard to get in a shot because, like, man, if you got that bright ass sunlight, you either blowing those highlights or you're getting dark shadows, especially if you're shooting on an older camera where we don't have that DR like you, dynamic range like you crazy new Nikon and Sony shooters. I hate you.
Yep, hate you guys.
So much success to use lighting. Yeah, that's like work.
Not everyone wants to use lighting.
Yeah, especially people newer into the photography game, like Nina. Like, using lighting is something I'd wait for. In fact, it's interesting because I know part of the interesting glow on this image is actually from the UV light that I know Jared was shining, and I really like that kind of glow on her hip and how it hits the like emblem on her hand. I think that looks really neat. In terms of like darkness, though, I feel like, you know, it is a dark image, but I feel like we just lose a bit too much information in the very lower right hand corner. Like, it's just a bit too dark down there. Heidi is a muse.
I mean, not wrong.
The color grading's great. I really, really like the like deep blues, and I see some purple, and it mixes really well with the orange. And that I'm assuming is a natural flare.
Yeah, it's not a. That's not. I'm pretty sure that's not a natural flare.
I mean, it could be.
I'm pretty sure that's not a natural flare.
Nina, confirm.
I'm pretty sure that's a Photoshop flare.
Wow, are you questioning Nina's?
Yeah,
Nina just lied.
Yeah,
just
it doesn't look. It doesn't look the right direction, and it looks kind of weird to me. But that's me. It's not an egregious example like most Photoshop lens flares are, because I hate Photoshop lens flares. But
all right, let's bet on it. What are we betting?
I'm betting $5. I don't know to what. I'm betting $5 that it's a Photoshop lens flare.
Thank you to me. That means it's real.
It's a natural flare.
Yes!
Fuck!
Yes, it's natural. It's natural.
Yeah, I don't see, like, you know how there's always like that really big blob, like, from where it's coming from? I don't see that anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm legitimately like shocked. So you're saying like the lens elements that are coming off to the lower right hand of the screen is a real lens flare? Because holy crap, that does not look like a real lens flare to me.
Nina is a queen. She got this. I was like, that has to be natural, because I remember shooting from this angle, and the photo was garbage because I suck. But I got a flare, like, not that great, but there was a flare coming off. So I remember, like, yeah, I was like, that is real, girl. Insert Pacha meme where he's just like this. That is literally how I'm feeling. So good. Sorry.
I think the crazy thing is how sharp the lens flare is. I think that's what almost threw me off.
That's what made me think it was fake.
Yeah, the only reason I didn't think it was fake is, like I said, that like when you do it in Photoshop, there's always the main source of that fake flare, and it's so disgusting looking, and I don't see it anywhere. So
yeah.
Damn.
You got them skills, girl. Keep going. Good. Yeah, I agree though. Like, I would have maybe. I don't know. I kind of like how it's like darker, but maybe just like some features in her face a little bit. But it wouldn't be realistic if the rest of her is like dark like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
kind of a subjective situation. Kind of like it.
Well, that's funny. I was trying to see if I could donate to my own stream $5, but PayPal was like, you can't donate money to yourself, and I'm like, God damn it, PayPal, get it! Don't tell me what to do.
Funny.
Would it pop up that you did it, or were you gonna like be like?
Yeah,
oh,
it was gonna pop up. Well, it would have popped up, but
donated $5.
No,
like some rando like that you made up. Oh, do you want me to donate?
No, I failed. It was on me.
$1.
$1?
One whole dollar. Times are
damn
hard,
it.
y'all.
Well,
That flare. That fake.
That flare dough.
That fake flare looks really real. Really
Can't.
Sorry. Andrew, we love you and we support you.
Well, you guys got any more thoughts on this shot before we move on to the next one?
We are surrounded by queens. You guys are slaying it. I love you guys. Sarah's my spirit animal. You guys are my spirit. Everyone's my spirit animal. You guys are great.
I'm dead inside.
All right, we're moving on to the next shot.
I mean,
All right. Sarah, you're going to lead this one off from Steven. Especially because I think you're the only one that's watched any Food Wars here, I think.
Wait,
I've
really?
watched an episode.
Someone donated as Vontography, $5. Bless you, whoever that was.
I don't see any money coming up in the bar though. Like it still says $0.
Maybe give it time to process. It literally went through and as an alert.
The other one hasn't gone through either. Anyway, let's get back.
Whatever.
Okay, first of all, I feel like you rarely see this, which is kind of weird. You rarely see Food Wars actually shot in a kitchen. I don't know if that's because people just don't have access to nice kitchens. I mean, I guess I don't really have a nice kitchen, or it's just like, I don't know. So I think it's cool that they were able to shoot in like in a location that makes sense for Food Wars. That being said though, I think the part where I feel like where this was missed, like kind of majorly, was the setup of it. Like you're given a kitchen, you have that space to work with, which makes sense with Food Wars, but then it's like very stylized. Like I kind of wish it had been a more kind of like Nikumi's like in the act of cooking versus kind of like laying on the kitchen counter, which also just isn't sanitary. I think
that's.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna get kind of mean here.
This was something Mallo actually and I talked about before the stream. So go ahead and get into it because we're gonna back up here.
So the thing that really does not meld with me with this photo is how unsanitary it feels. You have the cross-contamination of all the different meats, like that chicken next to the bacon, next to the red meat, and then you also have your fresh veggies out. Like, there's also I'm a huge like food germaphobe, so I'm like particularly like a little like freaked out here. The cross-contamination of like the actual food products is a lot, and then you actually have like the model's body on the countertop, which is not like super clean. Like, you just wouldn't do that in a kitchen. And also there's like, there's like dirt on her shoes, so that doesn't help either. I'm sorry, I'm getting like way too into it, but it makes me a little uncomfortable just with. Yeah, I'm sorry. I really don't mean.
No, this was something that Mallo and I talked about earlier, is just like thematically, like it just feels a little odd because it's a show about like professional level cooking, and it just doesn't this doesn't feel like nothing about the way that the meat is laid out feels like a professional kitchen environment, especially with it being on the bare counter. There's no like cutting board that things are placed on. It just feels really awkward.
There's just kind of no
Someone mentioned there's plastic wrap, but even then it's like...
Yeah, it doesn't... I don't know.
I haven't watched a lot of the show, but like I said to them, I'm like, the concept doesn't make sense. Like, it's professional. No one's slapping poultry on the counter, And, I mean, and by the way, chicken, mood, me, always. Like, so like I feel like that chicken, like, for real. But it doesn't, I don't know. I don't know if it's, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't watched the show, so I don't know if it's a thing, but like, it just doesn't, I feel like what I've watched, snippets of what I've watched, it's professional, and the concept doesn't make sense. I mean, unless you're wanting this.
I think like if you're gonna go, if you're trying to go like the conceptual route, like because I have seen some like pretty bizarre like food photography editorial things, like not in Vogue, but in more like indie fashion magazines. Like you gotta take it there. So if you're gonna do that, like if you want to make it kind of weird, I mean, meat is her specialty. So if you want to get kind of weird with it, like do it. But I think here it's like it's halfway between like trying to be maybe conceptual to trying to be realistic, and right now it's just kind of like it's not working for me.
So I think part of also what comes into play here is the lighting. And I think with a different lighting, I would feel kind of differently about this. We've got like really strong and harsh cross lighting in the image, and I just don't think it works very well for creating a light that works well on models, but especially on food. I don't think it reads very well. Because you get that specular highlights, especially like the chicken, the way it's got like that harsh highlight on one side and the deep shadows on the other side just is not, you really want food a lot of times to be, I'd say, lit pretty brightly, and all those shadows on the food feels really weird. Cause like, I feel like a lot of time you want that meat to feel bright, and you like usually darkness to meat is not a good feeling color. Like a lot of the like what I'm assuming is steaks, I feel like you get like, because of the shadows, you get kind of that darker brown color, and that's not what you're looking for in food photography ever. So I'd say this image could have been very much improved if the lighting just felt a lot brighter and softer, because it just is not like, it's not working for me on the food. And then also like on her face, it's just a bit too harsh. Like one eye is getting lit and the other is not, and you get that like that sharp angle from the way her collar, the shadows being cast on her collar. So I think just really softening up that shadow. Other things I do like the reflection going on in the shot.
Oh, that's cool.
It draws me into other things like the knife. I like the reflection on that, but that also makes me look at the knife more, which I feel like really needed to be either cleaned up or photoshopped. There's some spots on the knife that I really think at least some clone stamp or healing brush could have really helped. So yeah.
I feel like when you kind of like fall back on what Sarah was first saying, because we came at it like really hard.
We did. We're just getting tired and cranky.
Like the effort is great. I mean, like buying the stuff, putting it out, trying to get that concept, but I think you really need to think about what you're wanting the viewer to feel. And like the mixture of the knife or the dirty boots and stuff like that, the meat that looks rotten because it's dark, like you said, it gives off a mood, and I think you just got to think about what kind of mood you're trying to give. I think when you're kind of involved in what you're trying to do and like what's in your head, it doesn't always come out that way when you lay it out. Believe me, I know. I'll like dream up stuff and then I do it and I'm like, that didn't work out the way I wanted. So it's like I want to kind of soften it up a little bit by saying like the effort's great and I can see what you're going for. It's supposed to be kind of playful, like just whatever. But I think really just kind of pay attention to like what it all together is going to come off as, because like everyone's different, but for me, I'm really squeamish about food and like germs. And so like, I don't feel this like, oh, it's so cute. And like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not the first thing I think of, even though the cosplayer is great and she does look cute. I know I said that again. You gotta remember the environment. So that's why it's like, We're not trying to say like, oh, this whole idea sucked. Like,
Yeah. So
the idea was cool, you know.
A thought. What would you guys have thought about this image if all the food was cooked and then plated, and then like plated in front of her instead of off to the side? I feel like that's not.
That would have been really cute. Like, if
I think so much of it is about because the meat is raw that makes it feel very awkward.
It's raw and it's not packaged.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can have raw meat on a counter, but typically you keep it in like the butcher paper.
Or you know, you could get a story. Plate. You could get a storytelling shot of this with her actually like doing some like
unwrapping
food prep
it.
Or something like that. Yeah. That could read a lot better too.
Well, Heidi brought up a good point. She said, from a cosplayer's perspective, I think this is an example of why you should spend time thinking of what you're going to do with your props rather than just getting them to have them. I think again, it's on. I mean, this is obviously an on location shoot, and I think that kind of just touches on something we've talked about before, where like pre-production or pre-planning, whatever you want to call it, is so important when it comes to these kinds of things. Like, I know when I have a considerable amount of time to plan for a shoot ahead of time, like I do a ton of research. I print out mood boards and put them in a notebook so I can have them on hand with me at the location, because obviously you're not guaranteed that your service is going to be great. I sketch out like little storyboard, like thumbnail images of like photo ideas that I want, just to, because then you can look at it and you're like, does this make sense? Like, is this going to work like as a photo set? So I think if because clearly a lot of planning went into this, they found a good location, they got all of these like great ingredients, but then kind of like the step of like trying to conceptualize what the end result is going to be was missed. Yeah.
I agree though, if it would have been like on platters like around her, even if she stayed in the same spot, and then just like touch up things like the boot and the knife, you know, because you got to still remember that what the the whole idea of the show is, and it has to make sense. To me, it needs to make sense, you know, like
especially when it's so specific to something like cooking. You know,
right,
like, this isn't just like kids going to school. Like, this is like, you know, a more niche like subject. Yes.
But the posing's cute. Totally. Like, I
mean, the pose is totally Nikumi, just not on top of a countertop where you cook food.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've gone on that one for long enough. So let's go to the final shot of the critique. Okay, this one is from Tyler and Mallo. Why don't you take us off in this final shot?
Okay. Sorry, I'm pulling it up. Dang! Okay. Okay. That body though. I mean, hello. That's great. Sorry. I was like not expecting that. I don't think I saw this photo. Holy crap.
Oh my god. It's time to go to bed.
This is me, y'all. This is me. Hold on. Okay. The lighting's really cool in this. I'm sorry. I don't think I looked at this photo beforehand. Okay. You should not have gave me this photo. Hold on. I have no chill. Hold on. I gotta take a good look at this photo. Hold on. So
you know, like he has nipples, they're real. He's not a 2D character.
I have no chill, y'all. Okay, so we'll just walk into my work and they have biceps. I'm like, I mean, hey, your coffee's on me though. Okay. So anyway, to the photo. I'm assuming this was with a flash or something. Andrew, I'm sorry. Why are you so red, Andrew? We got the same feels.
We're looking at a shirtless dude who is totally ripped as our last photo, and you and I are dying.
I know.
You're just like, why am I here?
I'm like, I need a print.
I need an adult.
So I'm assuming this was like with a flash. I don't know. Obviously. So that looks cool. I don't have much of an opinion on that, but I think it looks great.
It defines his muscles.
Yeah. Yes. Sarah. Yes. The The makeup's really cool. I like how it's smeared. Like it's not so uniformed. I think that's really, really cool. That's a good detail to it. I feel like I would have wanted to see the grass, like the bamboo, and I think that's bamboo. I can't see. Can you guys see?
Some plants. Got some sweet plants in the background.
I'm zooming in on the abs. Hold on. I don't know
what
what
God,
that
Nina, you missed all the commentary.
Oh, you can go back and watch it. No, actually, no one go back and watch this. It's horrible, embarrassing. It would have been cool to see.
This will be
like
uploaded on YouTube later.
Stop. No.
I mean, we can't help it that we're looking at this as our last photo.
Could you imagine if I did this to all the? Yeah, we're not gonna go there.
Okay.
That's because we're not making degrading comments. We're making nice comments. Thank you. There's a difference.
Well, in this photo, you don't look dead, so that's a good.
You don't look dead.
No, but seriously, it would have been cool to see like the leaves and stuff a little more and kind of get like a vibrant like feel to it, I guess. But I don't know if they were kind of going for that shot where everything's dark but him. Like I said, not my style of photography, but it's really, really cool.
I think the pose is a little weak.
Yeah.
Like it's interesting because he's gripping the dagger like very intensely. I mean, you can see the veins in his arms for crying out loud, but it's also kind of just like laying there.
Yeah, if he had a bit of bend in that arm, I think it could help.
I'm gonna end up snorting. Stop.
Do I need to turn this critique around?
I'm sorry, I'm slap happy. I'm so slap happy. I got a video.
Oh shit! Someone pointed out the white. Oh my god, what's it called?
Like elastiband.
Yeah.
Yeah, the elastic band. Yeah, it probably should be photo shoe paid out.
I didn't notice it at first, honestly, but then now that's all I see.
Really?
minus the nips.
Oh.
So, I'm gonna give some thoughts.
You go ahead.
So,
even he's speechless.
I really like the lighting in the image. I kind of wish, like, it gives like a very spotlighted look, though. I wish it kind of spread a bit more. I feel like it's a bit too lit to like just his torso and face. Like, I would like want him to be fully lit better. I'd also try and do some editing to kind of fix the color difference between like his leg and like his body. He's got a very different color tone on his legs than his torso. Some other thoughts color wise. I'm not a big fan of the blue in the sky that you can see through the leaves. I would maybe consider either photoshopping it out or desaturating it a fair amount. Yeah, those are thoughts I had. I would also like to see the color grading taken a bit further in this image. It feels it's not bad as is. But it's pretty, I'd say pretty safe. Like it just feels pretty natural. I think some color grading could elevate this image.
I feel like they were going for a more model-y kind of vibe with this, I'm assuming, instead of like more like storytelling. So it's hard to have an opinion on that sometimes because I love doing like storytelling. So I mean, it's cool for, I think, that more model-y kind of thing. But
I think if the background was just lit a little bit better, so it wasn't so black, it would feel better. Like, I get the whole spotlight look. I don't really know what the correct term is, but you do see it in magazines a lot, especially for like male models. But I think because it's like literally like he's lit, and then the background's kind of not lit. Oh, he's lit.
It's lit.
Lit.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I like this.
I don't
photo.
really know what I'm saying anymore.
So with that, you guys think that's a good place to call it a night on the critique?
We got another solid 5 minutes to talk about this photo, right?
I mean,
I'm tired.
enhance.
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 Ooh,
Yeah, enhance.
I don't care who you are. If you got abs like that, I'm enhancing. I'm zooming in. Oh, jealous. I want to have abs too. Jealous. I want abs. Good photo. If you
It's
ever
great.
sell if they're here and you're selling prints, might end up on the wall. I like Princess Mononoke.
Especially gender, but yeah.
Ooh, Andrew, I'll buy you one. We have matching.
I think with that, it's a good place to wrap up on the critique.
Yay, we survived.
You did it. You made it to the end, guys.
I'm tired.
Thanks to everyone who stuck around this long. This is a long one. I think maybe it was a bit of focus was a little bit hazy towards the end, but oh well.
Okay, well, hello.
I wasn't pointing fingers, Sarah. Maybe I was
I
blaming
mean, hello.
but no, seriously, thanks everyone who stuck around for so long. Thanks Mallo for joining us to be a guest.
You're never gonna invite me again.
That is untrue. That is untrue.
All of your other guests are like, this is
Mallo, we
him.
already invited you back. You can't tell us that we're not gonna too late.
It'll be another year, guys. Another year. And then I'll be 30 and then I'll be like, what? I'll be like this close to the screen. It'll be fine.
So
I love you guys.
Other things. So some final things I want to wrap up with. If you want to submit to the next critique, that will be on August 30th. The URL to submit is submissions.vontography.com. I posted that link in the Twitch chat. Our next guest will be Rudy B Photography, so get excited about that. Dude does some awesome work. Excited to have him on. Let's see here. What
Wait, what's
else?
this link?
What's the link?
Someone sent me a link.
Oh, I don't know, Mallo.
Oh, thank you.
If you thought that the stream was enjoyable or worthwhile or just made you laugh because we're ridiculous tonight, consider dropping a donation. By all means, it is not mandatory, but it is appreciated. Also, if you have a Twitch Prime sub and you're not using it, consider us. Other final things. So we have a survey for the critique. So now that if you're presuming that you're here, you've now watched critique. So it's a good time to fill out this survey. If you've watched more than one critique, that's super helpful. But even if you've just watched tonight, I'd appreciate your feedback. I've made a Google form with a bunch of questions. If you have time to spare, I'd really appreciate you filling it out. It's anonymous, so please be honest with us. We really want to keep on improving the stream and making it a more enjoyable and better product for you guys. So I can't know that, can't do that as well without knowing what you guys actually think. So let me know. Your feedback is invaluable. So please take the time to do that if you have it. Other things, we're taking submissions for guests. If you want to submit for a guest that you'd like to see, please. I've got a guest suggestion form as well. I posted a link to that one in the chat as well. We're always looking for new people to have on. We want to keep this pretty diverse, so pretty much anyone is welcome. Like I said at top of the stream, though, keep in mind time zones. So because I'm in the Midwest, pretty much anywhere in the U.S. is fine. But once we get out of the U.S., that becomes a hell of a lot harder to coordinate. Not to mention, we then encounter difficulties with bandwidth. It's just a lot more complicated that way. So I try to keep suggestions to people within the U.S. and Canada, that area. Thank you all for chatting tonight. Huge thanks to everyone chatting. Someone asked, is the critique just for cosplay pictures, or is it for any pictures? It's for cosplay pictures. We have like a little bit of leeway, so if it's like, if it was a Lolita, we'd consider adding that, but we want to keep it to cosplay. There's other critique series that I'll do, if you want to get feedback on non-cosplay photos. I think there's plenty of places to do that. I think part of the reason we want to do this is because there's not a lot of places to get feedback in the cosplay community. So keeping it to cosplay photos. Do we have anything else to say? I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it. Once again, thank you, Mallo, for being here. Thank you, Sarah. Mallo, where can people find your work?
Oh, wait. Oh, not Facebook, because Facebook doesn't reach anybody. But you can find me at Instagram.com/MissMalloPhoto. And that's... I don't have a website, because I'm professional.
You also have an account for your personal photography as well, right?
Oh, yeah. Wait, my personal work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. It is in the description. There's only 2 photos right now, but I am working on my own conceptual stuff. So if you guys want to see stuff that's not cosplay, you should go there because it's going to be like fairy tale magical stuff too. Don't find me on Twitter because it's trash. Okay? Don't find me. Or if you like the same trash as me, add me on there, but there's not really much photography, so yeah. Instagram.
And Twitter.
Yeah, I guess Twitter.
How about you, Sarah? Where can people find you?
In my bed. I'm so tired.
I'm coming over.
Mainly on Instagram. I shitpost on Twitter.
Oh, me and Sarah we'll just reblog each other reblog. Jesus.
I literally just tweet free and the link. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh, dead. Like a lot of Breath of the Wild going on.
I don't have quality content on Twitter, so just follow me on Instagram.
I feel like if you're here, you probably already know where to follow me. But if you're not following me, I'm Vontography on Facebook, Vontog on Instagram, and obviously.
Well, I hope to God you know where to follow me as well.
Yeah, one would hope, and I really hope you know where to find me on Twitch at this point, because that would be awkward if you didn't.
Dead, Heidi, dead.
You guys. I'm not sorry.
I think I need to kill this stream before it just is like totally out of control. Thank you guys so much for joining us in this wacky critique stream. Once again, if you consider filling out that survey, it'd be awesome. If you want to put in the submission, do it, and consider donating as well. Blah blah blah. We'll see you on the 30th. I don't know if I don't think I'll have any editing streams between now and then because I got a lot of stuff going on. But maybe I'll have some editing streams before then. But if not, we will see you guys on the 30th.
Also, I'm going to be at Otakon this weekend. If you see me, say hi.
I'm not going to be there, so don't say hi to me because I won't be there.
I'm going to be there with Mason Hikari photo and Sono photos and some other people.
Well, no,
some other freaking photographers. I don't know.
Sounds like fun.
I'll be at work.
I'll be crying at home. Okay, I'm killing it.
Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone. Have a great night.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.